Predicted, it's happened again. Another mass shooting and an update on the Colorado shooting that may shock and surprise you. Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America.
And you ain't black.
The first time ever any...
What are you people?
We're Americans.
We are Americans indeed. My name is Vincent, and this is Middle America, where we are not left-wing, we are not right-wing, we are just right. That's kind of like half of a joke. If you know me, then you know me. If you know, you know. Shout out to all of our Middle America crew on Facebook, facebook.com/America Middle. I will warn you, it is a free speech environment. Everybody and their mother is on that forum, and everybody is welcome. Far left, far right, centrist, independent, whatever. It is a free speech environment, so folks are not as nice as I would like people to be, but as long as nobody's like threatening to murder someone, we let it fly. So note of caution. That's facebook.com/America Middle. Well, you know, it's almost hard to quantify this stuff or even talk about it, but we lost 5 people at a club a couple days ago. And then to yesterday, there was a shooting at a Walmart. Apparently, this person was one of the store managers. Walked into the break room and just started spraying. Just started absolutely spraying and murdering his coworkers. And apparently he also ended his own life. Obviously, as a person who is a believer in Christ and things of that nature, it doesn't look good for that homie. The last thing on your record is taking people's lives. No bueno. So I would say rest in peace to him, but I truly don't believe that he'll ever rest in peace ever again. So rest in peace to all those people that he murdered. Like I said, I say this all the time. If I believed that repealing the Second Amendment would stop these killings, or even, let's say, reduce them by 50%, I would be all for it. Repeal the Second Amendment immediately if I thought that would happen. The problem is that this country has more guns than people, and when you look at the demographic of people committing these mass shootings, they are males between the ages of 18 and 36. And so when you have a country that has probably within that demographic, there's enough for you to have 2-3 firearms per person who's committing this kind of action. So essentially in America, you have about 2.5 guns for every person in that demographic. And then you've got a bunch of mental illness, and then you have a bunch of financial pressure because of the situation we're in. Congratulations to Ukraine. I just heard that we sent another $400 million to those folks so that they can continue the proxy war. And so that they can die, and that Russian soldiers can die. People, regular people like me and you get to continue to die in the U.S. funded, U.S. instigated proxy war that's happening over there in Ukraine. Meanwhile, people in Flint and other places are suffering, and the people at the Walmart were obviously no doubt suffering as well. But shout out to Ukraine, they get to have more hundreds of millions and billions of dollars poured into our proxy war effort. Shout out to those folks. What's up, Overshadow Sean? So I just tomorrow is I think tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't really know. I'm pretty sure tomorrow is Thanksgiving. So you got people that are. We got about 11 people in the last 2 days that we've heard about they're gonna have empty chairs at the dinner table for Thanksgiving with these families. I wonder like if these people think about this shit when they're going around doing that stuff to people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if it crosses their mind, like, yo, it's Thanksgiving. Like, can you wait till some random date, like March 28th or something, or April 7th? Like, I've lost a family member during the 4th of July to gun violence. It's like every time you hear the fireworks go off, So I just wonder, like, do these people, like, think about that shit? I had another group of friends that died on Christmas Eve. Dad had to identify his son early Christmas morning. Like, I don't understand, like, people doing this shit around the holidays. And I understand, apparently this individual killed himself. So anyway, you guys didn't tune in to hear me bloviate and whine about the situation. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyway, rest in peace to those dudes. It's just a difficult thing to try to wrap your head around, that somebody can randomly just go into a wall and murder his coworkers, man. Like, that shit, I don't understand. Cattle Murder said maybe it's SAD related. I don't know what is that, seasonal depression, basically, maybe? I don't know what SAD is. But it's just crazy to me, like, dude, you are a manager, like, you work with these people. And, like, whatever financial, whatever crazy situation you're in, the people that worked with you are in the same situation. You know what I'm saying? So, like, why would you? This shit doesn't make any sense to me, man. And, it keeps happening over and over and over and over again. And we're not doing anything new. Like, there are no new ideas. You get one group that says take the guns away, and another group that says they're coming for your guns, and then the NRA comes out, puts out a little release, and then gun sales increase exponentially because recent events have demonstrated that the police are not going to be able to help you in these situations. And it's not just a time thing. All of you saw the video in Uvalde. So now you got people going, man, fuck this. I'm going to strap up. I'm not going to let the... I understand. I work from home. Anytime we're outside, where it's a very controlled situation. So, we are in much less danger than the average American, but this is what ends up happening, man. People, it's always the same thing. Like, and it's crazy because, you have people from, like, outside of this country that do not understand America's relationship to guns. And they just don't get it. So they're just like, well, just make the guns illegal, mate. It's like, There's 400 million of these devices in the country. Okay, so saying we're going to make it illegal, what are you going to do with the volume of firearms in this country? Like, that solution, I'm sorry, but that solution's been gone since 1776, bro. The other thing, like, people from other countries don't realize is that Americans, you are I don't want to say brainwashed, but it's just the history that you were taught that this is a way that we got our independence, was that we took up arms against the government. That's how your country was established. And so there's almost like a religious devotion to guns in America. And you have the framers of the Constitution and the people that kind of dictated American thought in the nascent years of the country that were telling the citizenry, you know, quotes like the tree of liberty must from time to time be watered with the blood of tyrants. You had people in the government saying that to regular people. So people from the outside, people that are not part of this country do not understand when you say things like just ban it. It's like banning tea in England. Like they don't get it. Secondly, on the practical round, how the hell are you going to do that with 400 million plus of these devices in the country? Banning the weapons is not going to make it happen. The only thing that I can see, and like I said, I would end the Second Amendment tomorrow if I believed that would reduce the gun violence even by, 50%. But I don't believe that it will. I don't believe that it will. And to be honest with you, I don't understand the logic of anybody that would say, well, just make the guns illegal. If I'm in the state of mind, some of this has to do with people not understanding the mentality of somebody who's going to shoot somebody. If you get to the point in your mind where you're like, yo, I'm going to shoot this person, you don't care about laws. Like, I can't, I'm not on this self-niching shit, but, Applejack knows, and other people that came up in certain environments know, like when you get to the point where you have a weapon and you got somebody that you don't care about laws. I mean, to be honest, like, so some of this is just a naivete of a person that's never been in a situation where they were like, yo, I'm going to murder this person. The only thing relative to the law is you don't want to get caught. But you once you're at that point, you really, truly do not care. So I think some of that is just naivete. The only thing that I can think really, again, is the mental health angle, which is what Republicans have been saying over and over again recently. That's the newest thing, is it's a mental health issue. And then they say, this is why you need to strap up, because now we got all these crazies running around with firearms. And so it's a mental health issue. And so that then goes to spike more gun sales. What they're not saying is, oh, it's a mental health issue, therefore we should socialize mental health care. That would be something that we haven't tried, right? We understand a gun ban is not going to work. I'm sorry. Chicago has extremely stringent gun crime, and every Labor Day and every Halloween, whatever, there was a summer in Chicago where 104 people got shot up in one day. Even before the Supreme Court ruling relative to New York, there was crazy gun crime in New York. So obviously these gun laws are not working, guys. And, people on the left, y'all got to figure this shit out. The gun ban shit, the gun takeaway shit is not going to work. It's a dead issue. It's not going to work practically, and it always works in reverse. Anytime somebody comes out and says it, after the whole, I think with Sandy Hook, gun sales went up exponentially. Like, they set a record because Obama started talking about banning guns, all types of shit. So, like, if you're on the left, we got to drop this shit and start making Republicans put their money where their mouth is. If you say it's a mental health crisis, great. Let's socialize and universalize mental health care and psychotropic drugs so we can get, we can get psychiatrists on the job, so we can get these people the therapy they need and the medication they need. And if it works and it reduces gun crime over 10 years by 20%, great. Then we actually have something to work with. But right now, we're in this ridiculous cycle of take the guns away. Oh my God, they're going to take your guns away. Get more guns, blah, blah, blah. And the cycle continues. Guns, as Riggs says, we have to reckon with the fact that the guns are never going away. Not in this country, they're never going away. That's correct. We also have to reckon with the fact that in the 1950s, kids were showing up to school with their guns. Sometimes they had classes on rifle safety and fucking target practice and shit in public schools in the 50s. These dudes weren't like shooting each other. And yeah, they had beef with each other in the 1950s. Those kids would square up in the yard and then they duke it out for, they shoot a fair one, as we used to call it in the hood. And then that was it. Somebody got a bloody nose or a black eye, Jimmy, whatever, and everybody went back to school and did their arithmetic and went home with the guns in the fucking car. So we have to contend with this. This country's always been flooded with guns, but this whole school shooting, we're going to shoot everybody up shit, and we're going to go in public and just randomly start murking people. That shit, you cannot locate that to the gun itself. Does the gun make it easier? Obviously, and I'm all for legislation that'll make it more difficult. But I could tell you, like where I'm from, I mean, in the Bronx, New York, man, the first time I held a fire, I was 14. It was my second summer. It was my second summer in the Bronx. So we had a gun. Folks were passing shit around. I was walking around with that shit. So, I mean, the left has got to come up with a different, strategy. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize is I've got an LGBT friend in Silicon Valley, and she's a giant Second Amendment person. And they're like, nobody's going to run up on me. Nobody's going to run up on me. Tell those people that we need to repeal the Second Amendment. There's just a lot of bad ideas. Really bad ideas relative to how to stop this situation. And then to Matt's point, you've also got this thing called the dark web. I mean, this shit is just never ending, like, as far as, like, the different ways and the, quote, black market that you can use to procure these weapons. So, I think the left really needs to shift on the messaging. I think there can be some serious, it'd be awesome if we had a movement where people are like, okay, let's socialize psychiatric care then. I think at this point we can say, okay, since you guys on the right are saying it's a mental health issue, and we've got an entire demographic of people that are underserved relative to mental health, we can socialize mental health care from psychiatric to therapy to the drugs that are necessary to keep these people chemically balanced and give us all a fighting chance at making it home when we go on an errand to Walmart. I wish somebody from the left would take that up and really start confronting these folks at the floor of the Senate and the House, et cetera, et cetera. Because I believe that if you brought that to the American people and said, look, guys, we've got X million of guns. We've got 18 to 36-year-olds. They've got about 2.5, 3 guns per dude. Okay? Banning guns is not going to work. Okay, let's forget about that. But we all know that all of these guys have a thread. Almost 90% of them have a thread of some sort of psychiatric issue. Let's socialize mental health care, and this we could project is going to reduce gun violence by 25 to 35%, whatever. And I also believe that even in the hood, in the inner city, which America doesn't care about, but in the inner city, you would also see a precipitous drop in gun violence if you had mental health issues, because I can tell you that there is a sort of like depressive nihilistic sort of violent spirit that takes you over once you start living in the hood for any particular time, when you start losing friends or whatever, or you hear somebody that you ate lunch with and then the next day you'll never see them again, you don't know why, then you turn on the news and they ended up dead somewhere in an alley. It creates a sort of nihilism and a sort of pressure to that pushes you, maybe I'm projecting here, but it pushes you past the point about caring about your own life because you're almost certain you're going to die. So it creates this sort of this very dark nihilism that says, well, if I'm going to die, then fuck, like I'm going to make sure that you die before I die, blah, blah, blah. And some of that could be projection, but I could tell you, like my friends and I, like, yeah, we could have done with some mental health at the time. And obviously there are epigenetic factors that go into how people get depressed and all, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think if you had people really, really pushing that, you could get crazy bipartisan support about this issue, and we could actually start really doing something. Really, really do something to help these people. And again, I understand we're supposed to hate these people that randomly go around shooting people. And I understand that, but at the end of the day, it's like, yo, if we could help these people and reduce the shit by 20 to 50%, then that would be great. That would absolutely be great. Kids who grew up in areas like Chicago have PTSD comparable events. Hell yeah. I mean, I would argue they probably have it worse because I've been around both cultures. Okay. And there's a certain level of training and things like that. And there's also a certain level of control that you have because this is what you signed up for. So when you go off, before you pack up to go and whatever, and you're at combat OMOS, there's the psychological operators that come and visit you. This is what you signed up for, blah, 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 blah. There's an entire military doctrine, yada, 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 yada. Especially if you're in the Marine Corps, it's kill, 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 kill. Some of your friends are going to die, blah, blah, blah. There's a sort of like, you're in control of all of it because you signed up for it, you trained for it, you're the most dangerous being in the world, all the shit that they tell you. So when you go over there, like, you expect that shit to happen. You go outside the wire, like, all your senses are on like 15. Whereas these kids are going to the store to get a 50-cent soda, and then their friend gets blown away in front of them, and there's brains on their shirt. And they don't even know because they're in shock until they get home and there's brain matter on their shirt. Like, that's how real the shit is. So yeah, dudes, yeah, in the city, hell yeah, you got PTSD over there. Worse than vets, I would say, to a degree. I mean, I've had to go to school with people that I knew that did horrible shit to people that I love. Like, they're in third period, fucking 2 seats away from you. Like that's not, you see what I'm saying? Like, if we caught you in Yemen and you were on that shit, like, you gonna die, bro. It's not like, so it's just, yeah, there's a lot of people with PTSD. There's a lot of really dark nihilism that's happening to people, whether it's inner city with gang violence or anytime you get people impoverished, these kinds of things are going to increase the more and more hopeless a person becomes. And when you combine that with pre-existing mental health conditions, and then you have external conditions like this, and then you have a toxic internet that's impossible to manage and control, I'm surprised that this isn't continuing. And as Cattle Murder is saying, psychiatrists are expensive as hell. That's true. They are. They absolutely are. They're extremely expensive, and dudes, they're just not gonna do that. Dudes won't even go to the doctor for physical ailments, much less mental health ailments. They're just not gonna do that. So there needs to be a concerted effort to socialize psychiatric care as well as psychiatric medication. And there also needs to be a big push for men specifically to destigmatize asking for help for mental health issues. And to me, that's the only thing that that's the only thing that I can see that would put a significant dent in this. Jesus. The one I see is $1.50 for 20 minutes. Like, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Now, I've known cattle murder for a couple of years. I would be extremely surprised if he went off and did some shit. But I'm certain that even though you're going cattle murder, I'm sure you're not getting as much help as you could have gotten if you didn't have to worry about that $1.50 for 20 minutes on top of whatever the medications cost and all the rest of it. And listen, man, I've had people mega close to me, dude, that it's completely night and day. Once they got on their meds, did they have to do other work? Yes. Did they have to do other psychiatric work? Yes, they did. To get to where they are today, and they're doing a great job. But one of the main hinges was she got on the meds. This person, just to give you an illustration, we were in the hood, and we were in the dead of the Bronx, New York, man. And she was absolutely insane, and people used to call us a trench coat mafia because we were kids in the Bronx listening to metal. And Columbine had just happened, and people in the school were like, "Yo, you guys gonna shoot up the school?" And she said, "Yeah, come tomorrow. We're gonna kill all of you." This is the middle of the Bronx. She was threatening all the Blood Gang, Crip Gang, everybody. She just literally did not care. And I remember one time I got pulled into the, because I got in trouble because I was supposedly the head of this gang. I was never a gangster. I was never the head of any gang, blah, 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 blah. But, people understood, But my point was, she was absolutely insane. And she had zero fear of these people whatsoever. Because she literally, look, she had massive suicidal ideation in her family. Two very close family members of hers blew themselves away. Like, literally. So she just honestly did not give a fuck. Her thing, though, was, I'm going to be homicidal. I'm not going to be suicidal. If I'm going to die, a lot of motherfuckers are going to go with me. So, but now she's on meds and things like that. Got herself into a program, whatever, and she's doing great. But she could easily have been, and if she was a dude, the numbers say that she probably would have picked up some of them things if she was a dude. So mental health really, 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 really is where it's at. It really, really is. Vin, have you read about the rates of loneliness among young men? No, I don't, but I imagine it's at pandemic levels for sure. And I just think that, the left needs to get on this and start pushing for mental health help with these folks. And I do think we'd see a difference. So, all right. So let's switch terms. I got an update for you guys relative to the situation in Colorado. Here's one clip, and then I'll run another clip soon after that. Here we go.
Public defenders say, quote, Anderson Aldrich is non-binary. They use they, them pronouns. I don't know what to say about that. That's not anything that we had heard from his background. People have been looking into his background. And I don't know if anybody here, are you guys lawyers? I don't know if, I don't know what to say about that. That's what he's now saying.
Okay, so the person that did the shootings a couple days ago at the LGBT club, their lawyer is saying that they are non-binary and they go by they, them pronouns. Now, what's fascinating to me about the response to this is that almost universally, everybody on the left is saying, no, he's just trying to get out of the hate crime thingamajig. I'm sorry, but I can't go there with you. Here's why. A couple months ago, a 10-year-old girl, it was right after the Dobbs decision. A couple months ago, a 10-year-old girl was sexually assaulted. She ended up being pregnant. They wouldn't let her have an abortion in her state. I think she had to cross the border to Indiana or Ohio or vice versa to go and get the abortion. And at the time of the reporting, there was no trace of this actually happening. And then if you listen to any right-wing or pro-life outlets, it sounded like it was just a made-up story, sensationalized because pro-choicers, especially in the media, generally lie and things like that to whatever. And so when I shot the video, I didn't come out and say, this is completely false, this is wrong, but I cast a lot of aspersions on it, and I put a lot of doubt on the validity of the story. Now, you guys know me. Unless I have hard data in front of me, I'm not going to speak on the issue. So I couched it in it's highly unlikely and things of that nature. So it did kind of give me an out. But the entire spirit of my video was that any fair or neutral person watching it would say, this dude doesn't believe that it happened. Well, that night, it came out that this person did actually exist. And this situation went exactly the way that people said it. So when I got that and I verified that, I jumped on. I took the kids to the park, put them down for their nap, and I jumped on, immediately shot a video, and spent a good amount of time covering that story because integrity is important to me. Integrity and reporting is massively important to me. And I know the power of narrative. So for my team, it would have been great if the pro-choicers would have got caught with their pants down making up this crazy lie about this 10-year-old girl. And so that was obviously a major motivation for the first video. But when the information came out, I altered my position to align with reality. Whether or not that reality is convenient is irrelevant. Whether or not that reality goes along with my preferred narrative is irrelevant. Whether or not that narrative or whether or not that reality is going to then hurt my position or hurt my goals or agenda is irrelevant. I'm a Christian. The scripture says we can do nothing to the truth. We can only do things for the truth. We can only serve the truth because truth is invincible. It's actually part of the divine essence, and if you really ask me. So here's the deal. An LGBT club gets shot up. Cenk Uygur and a bunch of people on the left jump on this and say, if you believe your Bible, you're guilty. If you're a Republican, you're guilty. If you don't believe in gay marriage, you're guilty. This is your fault. You did this. Cenk went on for 15 minutes yelling and screaming at Linda from Nebraska. Simple lady. All she has is her Bible. She goes to church and whatever. It was her fault, said Cenk. And a lot of my friends, a lot of left-wing friends were saying, this is the fault of Republicans for doing XYZ thing. And I said, wait a second. How do you plan on ameliorating that issue? Are you going to ban republicanism? Are you going to ban the free reading of scripture in public? How do you propose to solve this problem, supposedly, if it's Republican? See, pinning this on supposedly hateful Republicans is good for the narrative, because what it does is it demonizes people that you already hate. And secondly, you can convert the blood of those 5 people into political power so that you can stifle the speech and the progress of your political enemies. I'm sorry, that's a fact. That's how it's been used. And I had a serious issue with that. I had a serious problem with that. I have a problem when my folks do it. I have a problem. You know, there are people messaging me, well, how do you know that 10-year-old girl? They need to release her name, blah, blah, blah. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? They need to release the name of that 10-year-old girl. She hasn't been through enough? Hell no, I don't want that name released. I don't need to hear her name. There was enough in the media that made me say we were wrong. The narrative that we had was wrong, and it's inconvenient for our side. I don't give a fuck. Do I know what the pro-choicers are going to do? Yup, they're going to take that 1 in a million edge case and blow it up and make it sound like that happens all the time, but I don't care. I spent 30 minutes implying that shit wasn't real and that the story was fake. And so I think the next video was like 43 minutes long. I spent more time on it because it's very, very important to me to be accurate. This dude, this person, their counsel is saying that this person is non-binary. And they go by they, them pronouns. I'm sorry that it doesn't go with the narrative, and hell, tomorrow there might be something else that contradicts that, yada, yada, yada. But the fact of the matter is, it's in black and white. His legal counsel is saying that they go by they, them pronouns. What's fascinating to me is that in that clip that we just saw, the newscaster kept referring to the person as a he. But I saw for years people getting deplatformed on Twitter, Facebook et al. For, quote, misgendering people. You got to decide. You got to decide. Y'all are the ones that said anybody can identify however they want. Y'all said that. Okay, so we're going along with y'all. Y'all are saying, hey, if the person says that they're a girl and whatever, you got to go with it. You got to respect it. Other than that, otherwise you're a bigoted, horrible person. Okay, so then you got to own this one then. That's how it works. That's called consistency. That's called integrity. That's called I can't take you seriously. If you try to dismiss this person and say, oh no, they're not really part of the community, blah blah blah. I'm sorry. Newsflash: LGBT people can commit crimes. There are really horrible, terrible LGBT people in the world, just like there are horrible straight people in the world. It's a strange idea that, well, I mean, this person committed a mass murder and people on our side don't do that. You know, that's what Jenks said. That's what he said. He said, we're progressives. We don't commit crimes. That's what he said. Philly Steve applauds. As Perkinoff says, I don't know how most leftists can even disprove this individual's claim to be non-binary, considering their views are that you just are what you identify as. It is trolling seems like a cop-out right now. Yeah, it's a complete cop-out. It is a complete and total cop-out. This person currently is identifying as non-binary and they, them. That's a fact. That's there in his. Now, people are saying, well, he's just doing that to get away from the hate crime thing. What? This dude has 5 counts of first-degree murder on his record, bro. I keep saying this dude. Apologies. I promise you I'm not trying to misgender this person. This individual has 5 counts of first-degree murder. Are you telling me that he looked at the 5 counts and said, well, shit, the real problem here is that it's a hate crime. I need to find a way to get out of this hate crime thing and take these 5 murder 1 charges. Huh? Does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me at all. Whether or not he's trolling, I don't know and I don't care. That's not the point. The point is we have to be consistent here and we got to exercise some integrity. Y'all are the ones that told us anybody that can identify as however they want and we got to respect it, we got to honor it. Okay, fine. Then this dude is a non-binary that goes by they, them profiles. And that was a person that went up and shot up all those beautiful people. So it was I'm sorry, but I don't know what else to tell you. And the fact, I'm sorry, but this is vastly similar to the situation with the Tara Reade situation with Joe Biden, where it was the left that was saying, believe women, me too. Oh my God, Trump is a monster. Look at all the things that Trump does to people. Oh my God, look at all these cis white males taking advantage of women. This is horrible. We need to believe women. Oh, Brett Kavanaugh, he shouldn't be in the Supreme Court. I know this shit happened 40 years ago, but look at her. We have to believe women, blah, 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 blah. Remember y'all said that. Then Tara Reade came out Tara Reid came out and said, Joe Biden did XYZ thing to me. And all of us believed her. Because all of us saw the compilation clips of Joe Biden intruding on young girls' space, sniffing people's hair, all types of weird shit. And it was always young, pretty girls. And he was always in their space on camera. So all of us were looking at that previous date and going, I don't know, man, that shit sounds real to me. But it wasn't politically expedient. So Tara Reid got thrown under the bus. And the leftists completely and totally destroyed any semblance of character relative to the Me Too movement. That is a fact. And if you don't own that, when you start getting on your high horse for these social issues, your credibility is completely and totally eroded. Your hatred for Trump trumped your love for women in these vulnerable situations. So now here we are, and the worldview is being put to the test. The worldview is being put to the test. The worldview says, if I say that I'm a dude, but I was born biologically female, or if I say I'm a female and I was born biologically a male, or if I say I'm nothing, then I'm part of this rainbow community, and you have to accept that. You have to accept my self-designation without question. That's the world you guys presented to us. And then you said, if you disagree with that, or if you don't go along with that, you are a horrible, nasty, terrible bigot, blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. I'm from an evangelical background. Applejack can tell you, the black community is not up on this shit. Like, to this day, I would say the black community is extremely homophobic and triply transphobic. So it took me a long time. I mean, honestly, it was these communities, on the internet that made me say, shit, I gotta. So I started gendering people by their preferred pronouns when I started the channel. Because I fell in love with a couple of these people. And I heard their stories. And so I said, okay, this is against everything that I was born and raised with. Okay, but I'm with it. Okay, that's fine. She, her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm doing my best to honor that shit. But now here we are, and now we're supposed to go, oh no, this is completely false. Now we're supposed to like look into ulterior motives for why this individual is claiming that. Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. We ain't doing that. Okay. Now here is The Hill, and they've got a more detailed discussion about it. Let's check it out.
Good morning and welcome to Rising. I'm joined remotely today by Brianna. It's nice to see you, Brianna. Where in the world are you?
I am in Cleveland, Ohio. It is a sunny, beautiful day, although I am missing you in the studio, Robbie. We're going to pull through and try to give these people the show they deserve.
Well, absence only makes the heart grow fonder. All right.
Gotta just say, I'm a fan of BJG. I think I disagree with her like 90% of the time. Hell yeah. Zonia opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. Hell yeah, me too. I'm a Zonia stan too, exactly. All right, so here's BJG. Let's check it out.
What are we talking about today?
Dr. Fauci gave his final press release. Source.
I just like to say I'm not a fan of Dr. Fauci at all. At all. I think the Republicans are gonna do some sort of investigation on him, and I hope they do. I hope they do. BJG is the best voice on the left. Yeah, she's definitely the most ironic of speakers and the most compelling for sure. That talk she did with Cenk was an exercise in matadorial debate tactics. Holy shit. We continue.
Tells CNN he fired upon coworkers in the break room. Officials have also confirmed the assailant was killed by a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Last night's tragedy comes just weeks after a former University of Virginia student shot and killed 3 members of the UVA football team, and just days after a gunman killed 5 people in a gay club in Colorado Springs. Now, in a court filing...
See, he called him a gunman. He probably doesn't have the update yet. It's a gun person, Robbie. We continue.
Yesterday, pay attention to this. Lawyers for the suspected shooter in the Club Q shooting, Anderson Aldrich, say their client is non-binary and uses they-them pronouns. The crew over at CNN, however, isn't buying it.
I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's not anything that we had heard from his background. You know, people have been looking into his background, and
See all the misgendering?
I don't know if anybody here, are you guys lawyers? I mean, you know, I don't know if, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, that's what he's now saying.
It sounds like they're trying to prepare a defense against a hate crimes charge. That's the least of his problems, legally speaking, but
Okay, that's the least of his problems, legally speaking, right? Because he's facing 5 counts of murder 1, which will, especially with a case like this, high profile, which will no doubt end his life in prison. 5 counts of murder 1, dear listener. But he's gonna say, well, shit, 5 counts of murder 1. What do I do? Oh, I'm non-binary. So okay, we drop the hate crimes charge. Is that gonna stop the 5 consecutive life sentences without parole? Ridiculous argument. But again, they have to do this because it doesn't go along with the narrative. This was I hate to say this, but for some actors on the left, this was a great moment so that they could further the agenda of silencing their opposition. Because as Cenk told us, if you've ever said publicly that you disagree with anything relative to the LGBT movement, you're partially culpable. All of that fizzles into the ether if the person that did it was part of that community. So now you have to deny that this person is part of that community, because then it doesn't work. We continue.
it's like they're trying to build some kind of sympathy or at least confusion on the question of whether or not this was purely motivated by hate.
It's not just CNN, some online...
Some confusion? See, this brother has already determined that who this person is and what that person's motivation for the killing were. And so he's saying, admitting that go along with this person's self-designation is there just to confuse people. When you out of your own mouth just said that the hate crime aspect of the law is the least of the person's worries, which I agree with. You see the hypocrisy with these people? Unbelievable.
Loose are unconvinced as well after one of Aldrich's neighbors told the Daily Beast they witnessed Aldrich frequently using anti-gay slurs. Twitter user Alejandra Caraballo wrote, all indications from people who knew the shooter were that he was violent and homophobic. The identification as non-binary is almost certainly a troll. So I looked at that Daily Beast article and I was actually not totally convinced by that necessarily. Look, it could well be the case that what people are saying here is accurate, that he is not non-binary, that he kind of made this up on the spot, or his attorneys did as a defense against hate crimes. Sure, could be the case. Could be the case that he's extremely homophobic, but it's not, as far as like in the Daily Beast story, they only had one person saying that, and the person didn't actually even say that he was known for homophobia, just that he had used the F word slur a lot, which is also something I know like that a lot of gay people use too.
I know for a fact a lot of LGBT people use the F word that ends in a T a lot, the same way that me and my boys say, "What's good, my nigga?" I can say it. Don't say it around me. See what I'm saying to you? So this is pathetic to me. That means nothing. All we know is that the dude said. Is that the dude says, or this person said, the lawyer, the dude says that his client is non-binary. We continue.
So, sort of kind of reclaimy way.
Surely.
So who knows? But the Daily Beast is in my view, has become a very sloppy kind of journalistic outlet. And so after I looked at it, I was like, well, there isn't actually a lot of evidence there of that. Could be the case. Just didn't see a lot of evidence.
I agree with the was it CNN correspondent there who said that the hate crime charge, any hate crime charge is the least of his concerns. You know, he killed 5 people.
Yeah.
He killed 5 people, and I don't think there's a lot of.
Notice again, BJG is as left can be, and she's pretty good about gendering people properly, and even she is not giving that respect to this individual. I just want you guys to notice that these are the same people that will put you on a cross for misgendering people, even by mistake. I'm not talking about BJG, but, you know, I had a friend, I don't know if you guys remember the GameStop situation. The person just recently became trans, but they still had a lot of masculine features, and they completely tore the GameStop apart and terrified the clerk, because the clerk was clearly afraid of this person. And some of my LGBT friends was like, yeah, you know, look what we have to go through, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look what you have to go through. This person fucked up the store. I don't give a fuck what happened. You don't get to tear up a store because somebody misgenders you. So the same group that was defending that kind of attitude are now completely, like, boldly misgendering this person and don't really care about it. And I'm on the outside looking in like, yo, I thought those were the rules. Wasn't that the rule? Weird. We continue.
Leeway for him not doing a significant amount of time in jail, probably the rest of his life in jail. So it does seem as though if you weigh the kind of legal value of a statement like this, of putting out there that he's non-binary versus the kind of cultural impact of it, we saw the cultural impact of it very clearly on Twitter. Immediately, people who were frankly not sympathetic to the people who were killed and not sympathetic to LGBTQIA people in general were retweeting it kind of joyously, saying, well, this changes the narrative. This is going to, undermine the cause of liberals. And so I think that people.
Well, that to me is equally gross. If you're on the right and you're spiking the football, the fact that this individual is non-binary or whatever doesn't change the fact that there's 5 people on the ground today and 5 empty seats for Thanksgiving tomorrow. There is nothing to fucking celebrate here at all. The only value that revelation has is it gets us closer to actual reality of what happened, period, full stop. However, I will say, and I'm sorry, but Cenk and a lot of left-wing Twitter jumped on this and politicized it immediately. And I'm not even talking about, hey, we should get rid of guns, because this is what the right does. Anytime the killing happens and people are grieving and people are like, what the fuck are we going to do with this gun stuff? The right says, you're politicizing it. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that left-wing Twitter, left-wing social media, left-wing YouTube absolutely politicized this immediately. They blamed every single Republican. They blamed everybody. There have been XYZ anti-trans legislations, blah, 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 blah. And that's the reason that this shit happened. You guys politicize this. And then you're equally nasty counter. And honestly, I really think you're a really fucked up person if you did that. Honestly, I got people on the Middle America channel that I'm like, yo, that's fucking disgusting the way you guys are trying to politicize this and silence people from disagreeing with you and making it sound like LGBT people are the only targets for this shit. Get the fuck out of here. We just had 6 people got blasted away in Walmart yesterday. We got a bunch. The kids are the biggest targets. They're the ones that get torn up in these schools with these shootings. But y'all made it sound like you guys are like some specific targets that nobody else gets targeted the way you guys get targeted. So you guys immediately politicize this. And then your nasty counterparts, who are just as nasty as you on the right, are now spiking the football because they're like, yes, your political game. This is all a game to these people. Yes. So the little chess move that you did by pinning this on us, now we can pin it back on you. It's just like the Paul Pelosi situation. Oh, it was a right winger. It was a right winger. It was a right winger. Then the right wingers came out. Well, he had a BLM flag and an LGBT flag, so it wasn't our guy. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares about the fact that this septuagenarian almost got his head bashed in and killed. Like, that wasn't the issue. The issue was, how can we turn this man's blood into political power and capital? So I am equally as disgusted with both groups of people that do that shit. You want to blame, fuck you if you want to blame Sally from Nebraska for what happened at the Q Club. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And it's equally as nasty for Republicans and right-wingers to spike the football and say, ha ha ha, this is one of your people, ha ha ha. 5 people are dead. Again, please let me reiterate, Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and 5 of those people who have families that love them and care about them are going to have empty seats, full fucking stop. I hate to say this, though, but if you're on that side of the aisle, that's my left hand, you guys started this shit with this bullshit. But then you came on the right side, you got people that are just have no fucking conscience, man. Zero conscience whatsoever. So now right-wing Twitter is all spiking the football. Everything's a big joke. Listen, man, social media. Listen to me. Social media has turned us into sociopaths. You hear what I'm saying to you? Social media has turned us into sociopaths. When you look at like things like Chicago, these are all young kids. Your brain hasn't even fully developed until you hit about 25, 26 years old. So when the dude from Chicago kills somebody and then the other guy gets somebody and they go back and forth, literally they'll say, check the score. You got more dead than we do, so we're up. We're beating you. Check the score. It's a game to these people. And on a broader social level, that's what's happening. This is just a game to these people. I don't believe that Cenk truly cares about those people based on what he did. He saw the death of those people as a way to corner some political capital and power. And the people on the right obviously don't care about those people that died because now they're all laughing and joking on Twitter and spiking the football. But there's no real grief on either side for these people that died. And that shit right there, we got to slow down, man. Dana's saying social media is a cancer. Well, social media is empowered by human beings. There's nothing wrong with social media. We're the problem. We're the problem. And I'm saying we because I'm never going to cut myself off from my community, whether it's the Christian community or the social media community. We're all collectively the problem, and we collectively need to take responsibility for how we interface with this shit. We're losing our humanity. If you're on the right, this should not make you happy.
Both sides have to be careful. We saw what happened with the Pulse shooting where all of the presumptions about what motivated the shooting ended up not panning out. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of time in the world to wait to see what really was the motive here. There's no need to jump to conclusions. To the extent that...
I don't know, Brianna. Yesterday, you weren't saying that, though. Seemed like you knew exactly who and what this was, but now that it's the story's a little bit different, now we're okay. All right, I'm with you, sis. We good.
That this man went and targeted this location because he was targeting people of the LGBTQ.
But I just have to. His advocate is on record saying it's a they them, but she's completely disregarding it. And I've seen Brianna when it comes to trans people. She is very circumspect and very careful to use their preferred pronouns. So. This to me is it's very enlightening. It's extremely enlightening to me, I have to tell you. Interesting.
BQ community. I do think personally on a moral level that makes it worse to hunt down people because of bigotry. But at the end of the day, killing people is horrible. Murder is murder. And I don't want people to overinvest in the notion that it was a hate crime in order to see value in having a conversation about gun control or whatever else can possibly be done, mental health support, whatever needs to be done to prevent tragedies like this happening in the future.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the kind of hate crime designation at all, frankly. Violent.
Yeah, to be honest with you guys, the first time I heard the term hate crime, I laughed. Like, I laughed at the person. I actually, I actually had to Google it to see if it was like a real thing. Because I said to the person, "What do you mean hate crime?" I'm like, you I was like, you think I said, what? As opposed to a love crime? Like, you really got to hate somebody to murder them. I'm like, can you lovingly murder someone? Like, what do you mean a hate crime? Like, I truly, to be honest, I don't get it. Okay. And look, I have been like, so let me give you an example. Florida in the 90s was still extremely racialized. And if you went to, I lived in Palm Bay and Melbourne are kind of like twin cities. They kind of share a border, that type of thing. And Melbourne was like the black area, and Palm Bay was basically the white area. Okay, so you had Southwest Junior High. Southwest Junior High was the white school in Palm Bay, and if you went there and you were black, you were outnumbered. So the white kids would get on you, all types of shit. I mean, you could mix it up with them. We were pretty young, so nobody was bringing any guns to school. At least I don't think. And guns never really came out, to be honest with you. You cross the border into Stone, that's in Melbourne. Stone is all black school, and the white kids were the minority, and we picked on the white kids. And so there was racial tension. We put blood on the ground. They went after us, blah, 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 blah. To be honest with you, I was so young that I was never really mixed up into it. I was just focused on sports and all that shit. And I didn't care if you were black, red, green. If you could hit the ball and if you could throw accurately from third to first, I really, truly did not care. I didn't care. So I was out of it, but I was not into it, and I saw a lot of it. Then we moved to New York City. And we started to get into it with folks. But all the folks we were getting into it with were people of color. And that's when I really saw hate, like genuine hate. And it was the first time I felt genuine hate for people. There are people, like, if you mention their name to this day, I still, as a Christian, struggle with not wanting to. I hate some of those people. And they hated me. And I'll tell you, I was walking with a girl one time, and there was this blood dude like right ahead of me, and this dude that I was homies with, blood dude went after him, yo, you crip, blah 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 blah, and he pulled out his box cutter and whap 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 on this dude. And I was like right there, so I got, I'm with the girl, I pulled the girl back or whatever, and then my man is gone, like he took off, and I was just standing there. Dude didn't know me. I'm just standing there. That weekend, that dude ended up getting shot. And he ended up in the hospital on life support. People went into his room and pulled the plug on that dude. He didn't die, obviously. Pulled the plug, everybody ran out, and then the orderlies went in and whatever. That's hate. We hated that dude for what he did to our friend, bro. We hated that guy. And so, like, folks were legit disappointed. Folks were legit disappointed that dude lived and made it out of the hospital. I'm talking about like when the Patriots lost the Super Bowl to the Giants. When they had the perfect season, and like you have that gut punch, like, damn, the Tyree catch on the helmet. We were legitimately hurt and disappointed that dude made it out. That's hate. That's real hate. But if the folks that hit him up like that got arrested, they wouldn't get arrested on a hate crime. But I'm telling you, I've never hated anybody more than I hated that dude. And the other dudes around him, like the entire Valley mob, like to this day, like fuck Valley mob. I hate those people. I mean, not anymore. I mean, I'm a grown man now, but I mean, we were in school in Co-op City, and basically the Valley mob guys, I mean, that was their whole turf. So it doesn't matter. Blood, Crip, Latin King, whatever you were going to lose because the school Co-op City was inside Valley Mob. There's no way you're gonna win. I'm sorry. And you know, New York isn't like Chicago. It's not like you can like walk down the block and find your ops. Like you gotta take train loads of people to get to, you know, if you want to rumble with folks. So it was just, I hated those people. In Florida, yeah, there was racial tension, and if a white dude found you by yourself in the wrong neighborhood, yeah, they'd fuck you up, and vice versa. But in my view, that wasn't hate. But those people jumping me in Florida would have had a hate crime because they were white and I was black. But the people that we actually had hate for, you're not even gonna go to prison. I could show you videos of dudes getting shot on camera. And the police did nothing about it. Okay? So I'm completely confused about this hate crime thing. It's an open secret that there's a hell of a lot of racism in the LGBT community. Sorry, guys. That's out of the closet, but there's a hell of a lot of racism in the LGBT community. So let me get this straight. So if and there's a hell of a lot of homophobia and definitely transphobia in the black community. So if these two people clash, whose hate crime is more hateful? I don't understand it. I don't understand. To me, honestly, like for example, I talked to you guys about this a couple days ago. There's like a little 16-year-old white kid. Here it is. Man who killed Republican teenager over political argument is free on bail. I guarantee you that dude and the dude, his victim was a white kid. I promise you that white dude hated that other white dude. He hated him. I promise you that. He's not getting charged with a hate crime. Why? Because the victim's a white male? So the only white males that can get covered with hate crimes protections are LGBT white people and maybe Jewish white people? But your regular run-of-the-mill Joe, he doesn't get hate crime. It's just weird to me. It was weird to me. If you get to the point where you want to murder somebody, you hate them, period. And I have felt more hate in my own heart and felt the hate in the hearts of other people, but they all looked like me. I never had no white person like hate me like that. You know. I've never had a white person like really out there trying to take my life. And hell, man, there's some people in other countries that me and my folks hated with a deep passion. One of my boys is like, yo, embrace the hate. That was the motto of his crew, was embrace the hate. So I'm sorry. To me, the whole hate crime thing sounds like a way to silence people from speaking out against things that they disagree with or whatever. And yeah, I understand that we can't be racist because we're not in power. I completely understand that aspect of it. What I'm specifically talking about is the entire concept itself of a hate crime. Like anybody, if you take out, you got to be a certain kind of person to take a box cutter to somebody's face. Okay, like that's what happened to my home. The dude was right in front of me. It's a bang, 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 bang. He was hitting him like had the blade out there. It was a fucking messy, or it was a bad situation. That I don't know if you guys have ever been in that situation, but the aftermath is ugly as hell. Okay, it's really, it's something that I hope none of you guys ever have to see. But you got to really hate somebody to do that to somebody. And that's why that dude ended up getting hit up pretty hard 2 days later. So this whole hate crime thing is just something I don't understand. And a lot of people where I'm from are like, what the fuck? Of course we hate them niggas. Yeah, we hate them. But yeah, I mean, look, if you kill somebody, they should just jam you up. I don't care what your motive was. I don't care what your motive was. Like, you killed somebody, bro. That's it. So I don't understand this whole hate crime thing. We continue.
This is violence, murder is murder, and a lot of hate crime, so for something to count as a hate crime in general, so there has to be an underlying criminal conduct. So it's not just because of the First Amendment, right? It's not just illegal to be hateful or to hold hateful views.
Right.
It has to be you assaulted someone, you committed some crime, and then it could be if that crime is animated by specific malice against a protected, marginalized group, then you could face additional charges. Maybe you'll get a longer sentence. Whatever. Even that honestly makes me uncomfortable from a kind of First Amendment standpoint, because then it starts to get into motivation, and you end up with a lot of
yeah, it's thought crime. I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's thought crime. And then it's like, well, how do you prove that the thing is a hate crime? Well, that's simple. You just go on their Facebook and their YouTube. So now, if somebody said some crazy shit 3 years ago on Facebook about gay people, it doesn't matter if they've evolved after that. Oh, you did some shit to gay people, and look, you said this shit 3 years ago. So now we're gonna aggravate the charge. Like, I don't know. To me, I see a lot of like the propensity for abuse of that principle relative to speech and thought control. To me, is like an area where I'm like, yo, chill, I'm good. Like the cop that killed Tamir Rice. He didn't do that shit out of love, bro. None of these cops are facing any hate crime legislation when they shoot one of us. But they obviously hate us. That's obvious. They obviously hate and fear us. There was an entire sheriff's department that got shut down in Los Angeles County because they were doing the Sieg Heil shit, which I don't know. Now I'm hearing that doing the Nazi salute really isn't that bad because the Ukrainians are doing it, and we just sent them hundreds of millions of dollars. So like doing the Nazi shit apparently isn't that bad. But before, when doing Nazi shit was bad, the entire force got shut down because of that shit. So those motherfuckers hate us. They hate us. They hate us with a passion. So are we gonna introduce hate crime legislation relative to the police? This is just ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous, stupid concept. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's stupid, because if I was a person that wanted to stifle the speech of a group of people, that this is the way that I would do it. And I guess a person could argue that it's a way of counterbalancing all the inordinate power that cis white males have in this country. But the way to balance that power, honestly, is to have babies and start businesses, not quell the speech of people that you don't like or you're afraid of. If you want to counterbalance the power of cis white males in this country, black people, one of the things that you could do is stop aborting your children at rates more so than they're born. Like, we could do that. We could do that. We've killed 19 million of our own people since 1973. You want to talk about voter suppression? Whoo! Hate crime. Ridiculous. We continue.
There's a lot of crimes where, okay, the person, because people who commit violent crimes tend to be kooky or weird or violent.
I agree. Fuck them Ukrainian Nazis. Fuck them. And anybody that supports them, I agree. We continue.
Or extreme.
If you didn't see, like, I'm not here to make friends. I love you guys, but I'm just here to shoot it straight. We continue.
Might have some extreme views. Then you get into, well, did the extreme view motivate this specific attack? And you start like trying to like, well, what is in their heart? And also we could just ignore it. Like courts, judges and juries can like sentence someone more aggressively, even without the hate crime designation. They could say, well, you're more culpable because you're a really awful person, or they could have mitigating circumstances or non-mitigating circumstances.
Sure.
We could do all of that without the actual hate crime designations. It's just my.
Well, Robbie, what do you make of other instances where, for example, you can get amplified charges if you kill a judge or a police officer, and the logic is that because those people are uniquely vulnerable, they're in the line of.
Okay, now if Robbie's consistent here, he's going to say he doesn't like that either, because I don't like that either. you kill a judge or you kill a cop that that it's aggravated. Hell no. Nah. As a matter of fact, it should go the other way. The cop is supposed to be trained in how to exercise violence. So if he goes off and does some crazy shit, he should face way more stringent charges. But the responsibilities on the citizenry, there's more responsibility for the citizenry relative to this issue than the cops who supposedly have a license to kill. And as I said publicly, I was in a rally one time and I said, and the cops were there. It was after the George Floyd situation, and I said, listen, I'm going to make a pledge to you, brothers. If I ever see anybody on your neck, I'm not pulling out my phone. So one way or another, folks going to be held accountable. I got 4 sons. And if my sons ever leave the world the way Elijah McClain left the world, and them cops go to his death site and start making fun of him at his death site, I promise you, you're not going to have to worry about you'll never have to worry about anything ever again. Say it that way. See, I'm a Christian, believes in nonviolence, but I'm obviously a work in progress. We continue.
Direct conflict as a police officer, or they are, because they've investigated people, thrown people in jail, sentenced people that they could be targeted for retribution by, other folks related to the convicted, that they need the additional protection against being targeted, and so we have a higher charge. I think the logic is similar, whether or not you agree with it.
I would be against. I would definitely be against that as well. I think.
Okay. All right, Robbie. Good. Consistency. Okay, I'm with it.
I don't like laws that kind of dictate sentencing.
Okay, I got to tell you, Paul, you're killing me. Paul went both sides with the Ukraine stuff. No. Paul, no. Right sector, Spavoda, all these people, listen, the folks that were tormenting those people in Donbass for 14 years, no, it's not been a both sides thing. The Ukrainians welcome Nazis on the street. They throw petals at their feet, all types of shit. I'm sorry, Ukrainians have a Nazi problem. I'm not saying all the Ukrainians are Nazis, but it's part of the warp and woof of their culture, and it's part of their history. That's a fact. They marched those Jewish people in the middle of public square, raised down 10,000 of them, stole all their money, all types of shit. They absolutely have a Nazi problem over there, and it's not even comparable to the type of shit that happens in America. As I said, when those folks did the salute and the picture came out, the entire department got disbanded immediately. The Azov Battalion, on the other hand, is getting gifted prizes and shit at Disney World. It's not the same thing. They're absolutely Nazis, and they refuse to repudiate them. As a matter of fact, they deplatformed a bunch of pro-peace, anti-Nazi political parties there, and they also nationalized their media. They're absolutely fascist Nazis. Those are facts. Let's just be consistent. Let's be consistent. I understand that the Chinese and the Romans had this kind of salute, but when you look at the historical context of Ukraine and you have streets named after Stefan Bandera, I'm sorry to say, well, the Chinese have a... Stop it.
Practices like this to judges and juries. I want to give judges and juries should have leeway to, they know the details of every case. It's different. They can look at a specific case and say, well, yeah, maybe in this case, there's some kind of extreme, really horrific element of it that justifies.
Okay, Robbie's being consistent here, and I appreciate that. Robbie, I think Robbie's he's a libertarian. He's like a right-leaning libertarian. He's being consistent. So no hate crimes laws for regular people and no special laws for law enforcement. Okay, I'm with it. I'm 100,000% with it. 100%. Shout out to Robbie. That's consistent, bro.
Greater punishment or lesser punishment. We can, that's how the system is supposed to work. We put those decisions in the jury of your peers, the judge, etc.
Unfortunately, the reason that some kind of sentencing guidelines have been promulgated in the past, and I agree they can be abused, right? Mandatory minimums, I think, can take away necessary opportunities for leniency from the justice system. But also, the reason guidelines were implemented in the first place is that we had outcomes that were wildly biased, where if you kill a white person, you're 4 times more likely to get the death penalty than if you kill a black person, regardless of your race. And I do think that there needs to be.
Yup, that's true. That's very, very true. Very true.
Some attention paid to how to minimize sentencing disparities, but I do think I agree with you that I don't think that the amplifications on sentences are necessarily, I don't think they necessarily work. I think if you're going to kill a judge, you're going to kill a judge. If you have bias in your heart and are going to murder someone on the basis of their identity, you're going to do that. But it is frustrating, generally speaking, to see people kind of overly invest in the tragedy of this being solely because of people's identity, even though regardless of what the intent of the shooter is, it certainly has had the effect of terrorizing a community and making them feel very unsafe.
Right.
Well, politicization of a tragic event in order to exercise power over a group of people that you disagree with. In my view, that is I don't care if black or white, LGBT, I don't care who, ADL. We saw it with Kanye and Kyrie. Kyrie Irving is the worst person on the planet because he posted a video that Jeff Bezos has on his platform. Kyrie gets all the invective and Jeff Bezos is untouched, even though the fucking video is on his platform. So this whole hate crime, racism, anti-Semitism, blah, 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 I'm sorry, but I keep seeing it being used to stifle people's speech and stifle people's ability to express themselves. And to be honest with you, it's always in one direction. So I'm extremely skeptical of all of these groups. I don't care who they are, NAACP, ADL, GLAAD, blah, blah, blah. Man, to me, it seems right now all of those organizations are just there to find ways to stifle the opposition so that their narrative can prevail. And now you're in a certain situation with certain groups of people that if you say anything negative relative to those people, you're donezo. So I'm extremely skeptical of all the hate crime stuff and all the hate speech stuff and I'm extremely skeptical about all that shit, to be honest with you.
And the workplace shooting that happened last night, right, is just as horrifying, even if it is motivated by anger in the workplace. Is that really like different or less bad because it's not specific animus against a marginalized? It just gets.
No, but you can't garner any political power or capital over it, and so these people are not going to make as big of a deal about it. I was just talking to one of my friends, and they kept going back to, we're being targeted. This is like Rwanda. The guy tried to compare it to her. I was like, oh my God, help me, Lord. Help me with these people. Trying to compare it to Rwanda. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? We had 6 people just got shot yesterday. It had nothing to do with LGBT stuff. Come on, guys. Let's be real here. The reason that the left isn't as exercised about what happened in Walmart is because there's no way to convert that into political power to stifle your opponents. That's it. Full stop. End of story. That's it. I'm sorry. That's what it looks like to me.
A very weird and uncomfortable place for me. Like it's very bad, and these people need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. And I don't need to know what what their views are. Maybe we need to understand them better if we want to combat it, I guess. But from the standpoint of holding these individuals accountable, it just doesn't seem to matter that much. Like, they should be held accountable because these are all terrible, terrible things, and we want to discuss strategies for preventing them. It's a little different than what the mainstream media fixates on, I think.
I like that distinction between accountability and understanding.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, we will have more Rising right after this, including Brianna's radar.
Yeah, I mean, horrible stuff. Horrible stuff. Here's Paul. Paul, I got no issue with you, bro. Honestly, I don't. I just disagree with you on the Ukraine stuff. Don't at the same time whitewash Putin and the people he's supporting. My brother, it is impossible to whitewash Putin. For the last 6 years, we've been under a psychological operation to make everybody demonize anything Russian. I don't know if you've been watching the media for the last 6 years, but there have been tennis players who, because they wouldn't publicly denounce Putin, they haven't been able to exercise their trade. There have been all types of people that have had consequences. There have been Russian Twitch people that have nothing to do with this shit, that have had their accounts locked, all types of shit. Their entire, there's been economic warfare declared against Russian people in the West, in Western countries. Please stop. There's no equivalency here. We're not giving hundreds of billions of dollars to Vladimir Putin, and I don't need to mention that Vladimir Putin's a bad guy. He was ex-KGB. Secondly, I'm an American. I can't say shit about any other country. What I can say, though, as a taxpayer is I don't want my fucking tax dollars going to fucking Nazis. I got no love or support for Nazis or anybody that support them. That country has been Time Magazine, Vox, everybody and their mother 8 years ago was talking about the Nazi problem in Ukraine. Now all of a sudden all these people are heroes. I have a long memory. So I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to play this game and say, well, yeah, there are Nazis in Ukraine, but there are also bad people in Russia. My brother, I'm a Christian. Everybody's bad. The problem is I'm not going to give hundreds of billions of dollars to people that come out, that will publicly go out and do the Sieg Heil shit and have, remixed Nazi insignia all over themselves. That have fucking Stefan Bandera, the fucking mayor of Kiev, had Stefan Bandera. You see how I got this picture back here? One of my folks sent me this amazing picture. That guy had Stefan Bandera in his background, bro. Hell no, I don't believe in sending those people any money. Fuck those people, man. What's wrong with you? I don't have to automatically support Russia because I say I don't want to send them people my money. Man, that's their conflict. I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about people in this country. I don't know if you've noticed, we've got an inflation problem over here. We could use some of that $400 billion that we've sent to those people in the last 2 years. We could have used that for this economy. We could have had some more stimmy checks, things of that nature. We could have taken care of some, I don't know if you noticed, but the Dobbs decision just overturned Roe v. Wade. So now I got, 13 states that have effectively banned abortion, bless God. But now I got a whole bunch of women that are in some serious financial trouble. I'd like some of that $400 billion to go to them because they're in my country. Yeah, that dude was C-14. Yeah, that was, no, Paul, they are in control of the government. Paul, the Nazis control that government. Yes, they do. We already covered the video where Zelensky went down to Donbass, instead stopped shelling these people, and the Nazis stepped up on him and they were laughing at him. They laughed at him to his face on camera. They said, hell no, we're not stopping it. And then in the newspaper, in public, they said if he ever did anything to betray them, that they would hang him in the public square. So that government is absolutely run by them Nazis, bro. Hell yeah, they're run by Nazis. They got streets named after these motherfuckers. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Nah, man. Fuck those people, bro. I love you, man, but we need to have a clear and honest picture of what's going on over there. The Ukrainians are run by Nazis. The Ukrainians have been on record as using human shields. They're using their own babies and women and pregnant women as human shield. I'm not saying that. The fucking UN is saying that. Amnesty International is saying that about the fucking Ukrainians. Those are the people we're sending hundreds of millions and billions of dollars to, bro. I don't want to hear, oh, what about Vladimir Putin, man? I don't care about Vladimir Putin. Let him do whatever. I don't care. That's them. That's their beef. And by the way, we don't care about those. Biden doesn't care about them Ukrainians. We've actively worked to stymie peace discussions with those people. Listen, man, I'm a veteran of this stuff. I know this shit firsthand. In Afghanistan, we were fighting Al Qaeda, and then in Libya, we were fighting with Al Qaeda. You know that black ISIS flag that everybody talks about? It's not an ISIS flag. In Islamic eschatology, Muhammad said that eventually there's going to come a people that have black flags and have the kalam, which is basically La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, on their flags, and they're going to be marching. So every Islamic organization adopts that sort of imagery because they're saying we are the fulfillment of Muhammad's prophecy. So on the one hand, when they were in Iraq with that flag, it was the worst thing in the world. But right next door in Libya, those are the people we were fighting with. I don't know if the Arab Spring, which 28 years it'll be released, and it's obviously a CIA operation because we wanted to completely change the landscape of the Middle East. So we have track records of supporting nefarious actors in order to accomplish our goals in the world. This is just another incidence of us doing that, bro. So let's not whitewash this situation. Vladimir Putin has never done a thing to me. He's never done a thing to anybody I love. What business do I have with interfering with his affairs? He's never done a thing to me. And the Ukrainians have never done a thing for me. So why are we involved in that situation? But again, look, here we go. I think it does kind of matter when people point out that, but never seem to point out what the Russians are doing. Ridiculous! We've been dealing with Russophobia and McCarthyism for the last 6 years. Where have you been? What are you talking about? What do you mean never talk about what the Russians did? We made up an entire yarn about Russia for the last 6 years, dude. What are you on? No. The average American... please, man. We've demonized and villainized those people. Good Lord. This shit is just weird, man. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we had, Paul, we had Rachel Maddow out here talking about how Putin was going to freeze us all to death in Fargo because he was going to jump on the electric grid and turn off the heat in Fargo, and all of us were going to freeze to death. What are you on? What are you doing, bro? What do you mean that's a good argument? Man, I feel like you trolling me, bro. What you on? Hell no. Nobody thinks Vladimir Putin's a good guy. Who thinks Vladimir Putin's a good guy? All I'm saying is there's no reason. There is absolutely no benefit to the United States of America for us to continually send all these hundreds of billions of dollars when we're looking at a recession, we're looking at inflation, we're looking at you got a bunch of young women absolutely terrified right now. You know, I mean, fuck, don't even give me a stimmy check. Look at the you know what I would want? What I would want is there's about 12 to 13 states with trigger laws relative to abortions. I would have loved it if we could have taken that $400 billion that we've sent to Ukraine and said, we're specifically going to give a check every month, $400 billion worth to women in these states with the trigger laws. So ladies, you can relax a little bit. We'll relieve some financial pressure for you, because I understand that you were socialized by the abortion capitalists to live a certain way since 1973, and now the whole situation has changed on you without any grace period to adapt to it. So here's $400 billion that will pay out in arrears over X amount of years. I would 100,000% be a fan of that. But supporting Nazis because there's some quarrel over there, nah, man, I'm not with that at all. I'm not with it at all. Between Fauci and Zelensky, who would you invite for dinner? Fuck, man. I would much rather Zelensky than Fauci. Listen, I believe that Zelensky is stuck between the Nazis who are puppeteering him and the Americans who are allowing that to happen and not protecting him. I don't believe that Zelensky is a bad guy in the sense of I don't believe that he wants to continue this shit any more than anybody else does, but he is stuck. Because those Nazis in his country have literally threatened to kill this dude and hang his dead body in the public square, which, by the way, they did to Dennis Kyriv. Dennis Kyriv, at the beginning of this conflict, was going to go and negotiate peace, and the Azov folks dragged him off and executed him in the public square for treachery and being a traitor. We covered that one too. Google Dennis Kyriv. So when I put all that together, I mean, these people were kidnapping their own folks. We covered this. There was a governor in some, I forgot what the province was over there in Ukraine, and they kidnapped his daughter because he was talking about peace. So I don't think Zelensky, I don't think that Zelensky is really a bad, I think Zelensky's biggest sin is cowardice. I don't think he's a Nazi, but remember, he's Jewish. So them Azov boys, I'm sure they've told him on multiple occasions, bro, you're Jewish. You know what we did to Jewish people in this country. You better do what we tell you to do. So yeah. And I also believe that Zelensky, even though he's part of this nonsense, is still responsible for less bodies than Fauci. I think Fauci's got a whole bunch of bodies on his record. So hell no, I don't want to be within 10 miles of that fucking guy at all. I would argue that most Ukrainians feel stuck as well. Well, I agree with you, but when you have Western forces going in and destroying peace talks, it doesn't bode well for regular Ukrainian people. Right? But we keep sending them money and we keep destroying the ability for these people to have peace. So that's what I'm saying. Like this shit is not helping anybody. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I'd much rather have Zelensky over for dinner. Maybe we could protect him and hide him from the Nazis that have completely taken over his country. Fauci or Clinton, who's got more bodies? Shit. I still say Fauci has more bodies, bro. Honestly. One of these days, I'm going to completely shoot straight about my understanding of Fauci. Scratch that. I probably won't shoot a video on that, actually. People are conflating what I'm saying with a broader pro-US interventionist argument, and it's not the format for nuance. Come in and explain to us what the fuck you're talking about then. Here, I'm going to provide a link for you, and then you can come on and explain to us what you're talking about. Because honestly, bro, a lot of what you're saying doesn't make sense to me. Are you saying we should continue to fund this proxy war? Is that what you're saying? I mean, you're saying weird stuff, bro. Like, nobody's talking about the horrors that Vladimir Putin has done when everybody and their mother has heard about how horrible Vladimir Putin's been for the last 6 years. So I don't know what you're talking about. Here, you can come on. There's a link right there. You can jump on and then you can explain to me what you're saying with as much nuance as possible without having to type in the stream. Nobody else hit it. You see where it says guest.ecam.live? If you click on that, we'll be able to chat about it, because I'm not seeing your point. Do you really think though that if the U.S. stopped sending arms, Putin would just negotiate peace? Yeah, I absolutely do. I think that if we had stopped playing around with their border with NATO expansion, which he had been almost begging us to do for the last decade, and we gave him the finger, yeah, that precipitated the situation for sure. For sure. I don't know if you remember, we had this thing called the Cuban Missile Crisis. And we almost sparked World War III over that shit. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have this vision of Vladimir Putin that he's like the worst person on the planet. All the moves that he's done relative to this conflict make absolute logical sense to me. I'm not saying it's right, but it makes sense. You got people, your number one adversary is gobbling up countries and getting closer and closer to your border, and almost has a 270-degree militant borders against your folks, and there's no sign of stopping. So yeah, I completely understand why he would do what he would do. Okay. Vin, who do you think is the worst person alive on Earth, if not Putin? Me. I think I'm the worst person alive. The reason I'm saying that is because I know myself. I don't know Vladimir Putin. I don't know what's going on in his head. You know, these abortionists that murder these little babies, they're a lot worse to me than Vladimir Putin. The people Putin are killing have guns and can defend themselves. These little babies can't go anywhere. But even still, I'd say that I'm worse than them. I know me. I know why I've done the things that I've done. So, I genuinely, honestly think that about myself. I also know what I'm capable of doing. I've been in situations that say, okay, dude, you are capable of some real grimy, bloody shit. So, I really, really, truly believe that because I'm the only one that I know as well as I do. I don't know Vladimir Putin. There's a lot of times when people do horrible things for, in what their mind are good reasons. So, that's how I feel about it. Tasco in the house. Oh, hey, we got Michelle in the house. Dr. Kermit is worse than Putin. Yeah, Kermit Gosnell. He was chopping up little babies at 7th and 8th month. And for some reason, people have a problem with that. I don't. The abortion thing. I don't want to get into that today. But yeah, there's a lot of people on this planet that I would say are worse than Vladimir Putin. And again, nobody can tell me. There's nobody on this planet that can tell me that what he did relative to Ukraine is not rational. And here's the other thing I'd say. There's nobody in this chat that can tell me that if they were not in Russia's situation, that they wouldn't want their leader to do what Putin did. It's extremely hypocritical for Americans who do not have any enemies at their border to be saying this nonsense. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. Where are these pregnancy pics, Michelle? Send me an email, vinsori@gmail.com. I'm waiting for my brother Paul because I don't understand what the dude is saying. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get where he's coming from. All right, let me see. Hey, J Vel in the house. What's good, J Vel? NDA. I already signed that NDA. I have to make a note. Pretty sure I already signed that one. All right. Michelle sent them a couple days ago. Let's see here. Oh, there she is. Let's see. Okay. So we got Michelle in the house. Here are some pics that she wanted to share, guys. It's me and Morgan, she said. Okay, so that's one. Homegirl's Prego. And then that is picture 2. Let me put this one down there. And here's the second picture. Life is beautiful. We always celebrate life over here. Thanks, Michelle. American embassies and bases surrounded Russians and encroaching additions to NATO. It makes sense, yes, but it's all an orchestrated plan, a grand production of globalists and their problem reaction. Could be. Could be, man. You know, I'm not a big it's the globalist person, but I have a mic, but I don't have a camera. That's completely fine. You don't need to be on video. As long as we can hear you, it's all good. I'm not sure that we actually and totally disagree, but I wanted you to be able to speak your piece. I think it's an unfair advantage if one person's got voice and another person only has text. So there you go. Jump on that, and then we should be good to go. You just click the link and jump on, and then once you jump on, I'll get a notification. We can bring you on screen. Putin is hella popular in Russian for a reason. Hell yeah, he's hella popular for a reason. Anybody that stands up and defends you like that against a school bully is going to be popular. Try it again, bro. Try it again, Paul. Here's the link. Click it. Try it again. Let me see if I got this on. Yeah, interview is on, so you should be good to go. If you click it, I should get the notification, and then we'll be able to take off from there. Vin, off topic. What do you think about Pantera's union with Zakk Wylde on guitar? Planning to go see them live when they come to the U.S. I can't like pretend that I was a big like, you know, like OG like Pantera fan. I actually didn't discover Pantera until the channel. Having said that, as a person who fumbles around with the guitar, Dimebag to me, I mean, Head from Korn is like the dude that got me into metal and has since become an actual like legit friend. So emotionally, Head is always going to be the greatest of all time to me, emotionally. But if Head wasn't on if he wasn't on the planet, Dimebag to me is just, you get a guy that can like come up with great rhythm riffs. That's cool. Like, for example, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but Kerry King, for example, from Slayer. In my view, his solos are just garbage. I've listened to probably 20, 30 Slayer songs because I only listen to Slayer when I get to the channel. And like, there's been like 2 solos that I've been like, oh, that's cool. And it was probably Hanneman that did that one. But Dime, like, riff master like crazy, but his solos were also super technical and on point. So I respect Zakk Wylde, obviously, as a musician. Everybody knows what his resume is. But so my point is like, yeah, Zakk Wylde, like, I respect him and all that, but you know, I mean, I just don't think there's anybody that can like replace Dime at all. But I'm glad, like, for the Pantera fans. But Vinny died too, so like, I don't even know. Like, you only like 2 members of the band left. Like, I don't know if they're like gonna try to make new music or whatever. But obviously, that's not Pantera. Like, you're missing, like, in my mind, the 2 foundational like members that created the sound and the attitude of Pantera. So I'm not, you know, I don't know. I don't know. What's good, Applejack? What you on, boy? Yeah, it might be a money grab, and like the economy's fucked. So I mean, more power to them. I just, I don't personally like if I was a Korn fan and Brian wasn't there, like, which we went through that, for a couple of years as a Korn fan. And to be honest with you, I stopped listening to the band when Brian left. I would never go to see a Korn show live without Brian there. We did lose the drummer. But yeah, so if I was a Pantera fan, I just wouldn't be able to do it. I would not be able to do that as a Pantera fan. Better rapper, Vin or Tom McDonald? Oh, that's why Applejack said Vin. I mean, I respect Tom McDonald. Like, I respect the hell out of his hustle. Anybody that can hustle and finds a way to get their money, like, I'm fully in support of him. He knows his audience. His audience are essentially, white folks that want to feel like they're down but still hold on to their, whatever. So he read the room well. He read the room properly, and then he acted accordingly, and he got his little 15 seconds of fame, and I appreciate that about him. On top of that, Tom McDonald has had a really good effect on people because of the whole, like, drug rehab, alcohol rehab stuff that he's done. He has really, like, impacted people in a positive way. And I think that you have to respect that. You really, really have to. I know a lot of Tom McDonald fans who, overcame addictions and things like that because he inspired them. And I respect the hell out of that. So, yeah, shout out to Tom McDonald. On the topic of music, it's highly subjective. Dime was amazing. Zach is amazing, but they got specific styles. It's like saying who's better, Angelo or Bob Ross. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, he's the best, like, overall. And yeah, that's completely subjective, but man, he's really, really, really blessed as far as, like, the ability to do what he does. What about Lil Nas? Is that just a hustle? No one says that about the other side of the aisle. Well, I mean, I don't know much about Lil Nas. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, if you get access to places like Ben Shapiro and the Fox News and that entire apparatus, like, there's no black rapper that's going to get into those spaces. You know what I'm saying? So, not favorably anyway. Tom McDonald or Lil Yachty, who's better? I've only seen like 2 or 3 Lil Yachty songs, and to me, I don't understand that kind of rap. Like, he said, like, yo, I went to the studio, I just spit it off the top of my head. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's exactly what it sounds like, for sure. So from what I've heard, yeah, I'd give it to Tom McDonald for sure. Yeah, Paul, I guess, yeah, Cold Like Minnesota, that shit was trash, bro. Cold Like Minnesota, what the fuck is that? Like, no, I'd listen to Tom McDonald any day over that shit. He's gay, that's his shtick. Yeah, but De Herrera, when you go to the when you're in the black community, that's a very, very big risk. So I salute the homie for that, because that's a pretty risky thing to do back in my day. I appreciate you allowing me the time to clarify what I'm saying. Okay, I appreciate that. Why won't you check out drill music? How do you know I don't check out drill music? I've got a very strange relationship with drill music because I lived in that shit for years. So it's not like entertainment for me. You know, I had real losses out here. So my relationship to drill music is a little bit different because it kind of brings me back to that whole mindset and state of mind. And I was able to, for the most part, evolve out of that and reinvent myself as a person. But a lot of those guys, Vaughn, all those guys, never really had the opportunity. You know, your prefrontal cortex doesn't completely maturate until you're about 25, 26. Vaughn died at 26. And, you know, Duck, all these dudes, like, it's hard for me to, like, on the one hand, like, there's a real draw to it because there's a big part of me that's still not completely Jesusified yet. And so violence is a way that we were all taught to solve problems. So on the one hand, I'm kind of drawn to the drill shit, but on the other hand, it's really painful to listen to it because it makes me think about people. It makes me think about people I've lost. It also makes me think about, you know, shit that folks get involved with where other people have losses and you got to live with. But anyway, you just don't, you know, people didn't get the time to reinvent themselves, you know, because when you're young and you're in the middle of all that shit, you can't see past, like, you know, whatever. So that's kind of my relationship with drill music. Like, people on the outside of it, and people don't understand, like, you don't have to be a gangster. I've said it a trillion times, like, I was never a gangster. But a lot of times your environment, people, you know, if you have a certain kind of personality and you're in a certain kind of environment, like, it's almost like a lot of the decision making is out of your hands at that point. So, yeah. Drill music kind of originated in Chicago. And it was basically like real life gangster. And these are kids, like 15, 16-year-old kids. And they got all types of guns with extendos, all types of switches, all types of shit in their videos. But it's not like entertainment. Like, when I was coming up and you listen to Biggie and all this shit, like, Biggie would talk about shooting people. Man, Biggie wasn't no shooter. He wasn't a killer. You know what I'm saying? Pac wasn't he wasn't a killer. That's the reason Pac got killed, is because he put his hands on somebody who was an actual killer. But drill music, these kids have, like, actually killed people. Like, they would talk about killing another rapper, and then a week later that rapper's dead. And then a week later they're dead. Like it would be like Tupac, like, shooting Biggie, like, and these kids, these dudes are doing this shit in broad daylight. Like, broad daylight, like, on a camera. Like, walk up to you, like, in broad daylight and shoot you on a camera. And of course, police aren't going to do anything because you know how that shit works. So that's drill music. Shout out to Tony. I started the channels to share my bariatric journey. Lost 123 pounds so far. Okay, Big T. Put that link out there, bro. Put that link out there. Let me see it. Yeah, you put the names of the victims out there. It's all types of shit, man. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. And if, you know, we lost people, obviously, but if drill music was around and social media was around when I was coming up, like, none of us would have made it, bro. Honestly, none of us would have made it, because these guys will kill each other, then they'll go on TV and, like, they'll go to the gravesite, they'll do all types of crazy shit. They'll make songs about it. They'll make a strand of weed about your friend, all types of shit. And there's just no way you can ask a young kid who's grieving to let that shit go. There's no way that again, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to be a gangster. Like, somebody kills your brother and then makes a song about killing your brother, and then, like, there's 10 million views on it and it's trending on YouTube and Twitter. You know, that's why, like, I I truly don't give a fuck about Twitter and all those people that Elon fired and all the rest of it. I don't fuck Twitter, bro, honestly. And one of the reasons I don't tell people, but one of the things that was fueling all the death and carnage in Chicago was Twitter. These dudes would talk about killing each other and all that shit. Twitter never moderated that shit. But you say you misgender someone, they'll fucking suspend you. But all these black kids are out there doing shit when they're fucking 14, 15 years old. Twitter knew that shit was going down. They didn't do a thing to moderate it. So there's only one specific slice of people that Twitter cared about, and it was not black people in the inner city. So that's another reason I don't give a fuck about Twitter moderation. That shit has already fucked up my community, and they made millions and millions of dollars off of the death of black people. So that's another reason I don't care about Twitter moderation. But ugh. Vin needs to get a red a red bandana. I might, if we shoot a video together, I'd rock a red bandana. I'd rock a specially made pilly red bandana, no doubt, for sure. Especially that song, that verse that I dropped was autobiographical. I still got the one where I was talking about Rike and Reef, all that shit. If I shoot a video for that, I'd rock a pilly bandana for sure. Reefy bought the West and I had the weapon in my JanSport. Yes, Michelle, I will definitely pray for your friend. Don't you think drill music desensitizes youth? I actually think drill music actually does the opposite. In other words, you got dudes that will be like, that were like on the sidelines, that weren't part of all the gang shit, right? Then their brother gets killed, and it's one. Anytime you lose somebody, you immediately, like, you get that blood in your mouth and you want to get back. But if you're lucky enough and there's people around you that can say, hey, you're just going to continue a cycle of violence, blah, 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 let the shit go, there's a chance that you might not do anything, right? But what happens with drill music is, literally, they'll have a song called Dead Bitches or Fuck My Cousin. Like, literally, they will come and rap about what they just did to your brother. And then it will blow up, you know? So, like fuck it. If it's war's busting. You talking shit but ain't outside. Boy, we on your cousin. Heard your OG just got married. Boy, we on her husband. So, like, they're talking about killing your cousin because they couldn't find you. And, like, literally, the shit literally happened. Like, they do, like, play-by-plays of what they did to your brother or your cousin. So now, you were initially thinking, like, okay, I can get over this, I gotta move on, blah, 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 cycle of violence. But you're in that window where you're in extreme pain, and then, boom, you see this shit blow up, and everybody's singing about killing this person's cousin. They have no idea. It's 10 million views. It's people in fucking Brazil, you know, rocking to that shit. And they're talking about your brother, but they don't know that. So now you see all these people doing this shit, and you see the person that killed your brother is like blowing up, becoming famous. Now, like you temporarily go insane, and you're just gonna go out and you're gonna hurt somebody. So I think on a macro level, drill music can probably does work to desensitize people to the concept of death. But I think on the micro individual level, drill music can actually radicalize people to do shit that otherwise they wouldn't do. So it's very who I smoke. Right. Who won, Nas or Hove? Man, lyrically, I think Hove won that. But socially, I would give it to Nas. Lyrically, I think that's actually one of the problems that people like Jay-Z have, is that they're so brilliant that people can't appreciate how brilliant the diss is. You know what I'm saying? Like I can divide 4 albums in 10 years, and I could divide, that's like one every, say, 2. 2 of them shits was due. One of them was, the other is Illmatic. That's a one hot album every 10-year average, and that's just lame. Like, that was insane. And the deeper issue to that is that Nas, for a lot of time, was speaking a lot of 5% of Rakim stuff, which I know nobody knows about, but it's basically they're very big into numerology, and a lot of Brooklyn dudes were not into all that shit. That was more like Queensbridge, all that shit. They were into that 5% nation, all that stuff. Brooklyn was just regular gutter street shit. So so to have a Brooklyn rapper use numerology against Nas was like a quadruple combo. But people weren't appreciating that. So then you have Nas saying, with whiskers like a rat compared to being your whack, like, whiskers like a rat, like that's really a rhyme in a fucking diss song, but it was more accessible, where he said fully loaded on this ammo to exploded on this camel, because Jay-Z's got big lips. So it's like, it was a lot of these like 5th grade punchlines to me that were like, you're in the playground and people would call you a doo-doo head or something like that, and people go, oh shit, I didn't call you a doo-doo head, I'm calling you a doo-doo head. Whereas Jay's disses were a lot more sophisticated. But I mean, at the end of the day, battle rapping is a street thing. So, Jay-Z took him to college, and Nas took it to the streets. And so I think sociologically Nas won, but lyrically, I still say that Hove destroyed that. And the beat was hard, and the chorus is crazy. Fuck with you so like ether. Teach you who's king, God's son across the belly. I prove you lost already. Brace yourself for the main event. Y'all been patiently waiting. It's like an AIDS test. What's the result? Not positive. Who's the best? Pac, Nas, and Big. Ain't no best. I mean, and you could like sing to it, and there was some aggression to it, whereas Jay was like, I'm above it all. That's the thing about Jay. Jay was always like, yo, I'm above it all. I'm better than you guys. I'll just come down and say a couple things and then go back to, whatever, Whereas Nas, it was just more like street. It had that aggression, all that thing. When are you going to react to the Game dissing Eminem? Man, I didn't even look at the Game dissing Eminem. Like, everybody knows, like, I'm a lover of my people. I love black people, but you can't put Game and Eminem in the same category lyrically. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I respect Game as a rapper. I'm a lover of my people, but Eminem is lyrically in the top 3 of all time ever. And if anybody says otherwise, it's just because he's white. I'm just gonna be real with you. Just be real with you. I didn't even listen to it. I didn't even listen to it because I saw somewhere where Game said that he was a better rapper than M, and I'm just like, what the fuck? No, you're not. So I wouldn't say that M is a GOAT because his time is clearly past and he hasn't been able to like reorient himself to the generations of rap like a Jay could do. Jay was able to like do grimy street shit, 90s underground rap, and he could drop a song tomorrow and it would be great. Eminem hasn't been able to do that. So that hurts him as far as the GOAT conversation. But as far as lyricism goes, Eminem's got to be in the top 3. Got to be in the top 3. Do I like the Beatles? I think at some point we're going to do a Beatles, like a dedicated Beatles live stream. We did that one time, and I definitely, there are a couple songs that are like, damn. I'm famous for not liking the Imagine song, but I gave the Imagine song like a 9.3 or something like that. I just thought that it was just a childish, overly simplistic song. People went crazy about it, but I respect the Beatles for sure. Yeah, Nas to me, I think Big's verse on Notorious Thugs was the best rap verse of all time. But I think the best rap song of all time to me is One Mic from Nas. That's the greatest, the most emotional rap song for me is, it's a tie between All That I Got Is You from Wu-Tang and then Dear Mama from Pac. I can't listen to, I was in a store a couple days ago with Sori and Dear Mama came on and I just got what I got and got the fuck out of Dodge, because that song to this day is like, I can't listen to it straight through. Rest in peace to my mom. But yeah, Nas for sure. The One Mic, I think, is the greatest rap song of all time. Vin, have you ever seen the song about Dr. Fauci that parodies Mr. Sandman? It's one of the cringiest things I've ever seen. Holy shit. I might have to check that shit out, Ian. For sure. No, I don't think M has like fallen off as far as like his skills have diminished. I just think the time has passed and he hasn't been able to reinvent himself. Whereas Jay-Z, there have been about 2 or 3 other phases in hip hop, and Jay-Z's been at the forefront of all of them. I just don't think Eminem hasn't. Is this Tiara? Shout out to Tiara. Yo, Tiara, what's good? Hit me. Tiara's my little sister. Hey, I just saw that you got the little split thingy out there. If you was in New York, you would go right in with our Vamp crew. We used to be on what do you call that? 14th Street, the Village, Greenwich Village, and it was called Hidden Shadows. It's like basically this little Vamp gang, and they were all using like they'd all do that. They'd modify their teeth. They'd modify they'd do the tongue thing. All types of shit. Yeah, it was. You had to be part of the culture to get it. You know what I'm saying? You'd fit right in with those people. What you on? What's your word on the album? I'm gonna keep asking. I have, well, one of them. I got 1, 2, 3 songs done. I got a song with. I actually got a song with Applejack. What's up, Kai? What you on, boy? I got a song with Applejack. And me and Sori got a couple. I don't know. We'll see. It's a commitment. I bet that shit looked like it hurt bad, bro. For real, no bullshit. The Vamps, they used to modify like, see, like mine already like mega sharp. But like, I'm gonna try to find like a pic of my friend. Like he modified his shit. We're doing really, really good. Really, really, really good. Really good, T. For sure. Hope you guys are doing good too. You know, if you need anything, hit me. I'll take care of you. You know the deal. Yeah, well, you got to talk to Applejack, because me and Applejack got a song together. Mine's kind of autobiographical, and then he dropped a verse on it too. It was pretty crazy. I think I can pretty that shit up and send it to an engineer. Maybe we can release that one really quick. I got to put one of them like disclaimers at the beginning, like blah 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 blah, so that shit don't come out. But I don't think anything's gonna happen. Yeah. I'll check my attorney, but I'm pretty sure we're in good shape. But yeah, Applejack, you remember that joint we did? Like, I sent you that verse, and then like the next day, Applejack sent me a verse, beat me on my own song. But that's okay. That's all right. It is what it is. It bees like that sometimes. Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving. Agree on Imagine. If it had not been a monster hit, I might have been okay with it, but it's one of the most horribly over-covered and overly praised songs in history. Yeah, dude, for sure. Okay, do me a favor. Send me that email. Send me the email with that song, and I'm gonna try to like pretty it up so that it gets the respect it deserves. Then I don't know where we're gonna release it. I don't know if we're gonna release it on the main channel or what. Yeah, we'll probably release it on the main channel. Maybe shoot a little music video for it. I mean, I don't know. Like, like the situation that happened, like I had it all in my head. But I almost like don't even want to like make an actual music video about that, because it's a pretty terrible day. Pretty terrible day. Was Max Kellerman really a good rapper? Bruh, I am not sure, bro. I am not sure if Max Kellerman was a really good rapper. I do know that he was a legit hip-hop head, and I also think that Stephen A. did him dirty, to be honest with you. I didn't think that Max Kellerman was like that horrible of a host, to be honest with y'all. I thought he was decent. I thought Max Kellerman was decent. So I don't know why my man Stephen A. had to do him like that. But like, to be honest with you, like I honestly don't even watch the show anymore after Max left, to be honest with you. I'm a big Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp fan. All right, guys, I got 5 minutes left. I gotta go. I got 5 minutes left. There go Applejack being nice to his brother. Oh, your shit was fire, blah blah blah. It was alright. It was alright. Here goes CNN. Resistant fighter details killing drunk Russian soldiers. Look at these people celebrating death over here on CNN, man. God almighty. Ghost Main. Nah, I've never heard of Ghost Main. Who's Ghost Main? Is he good? Yeah, Coolio. That Fantastic Voyage, and then what was it? Wasn't Days of Our Lives. It was a big one with Michelle Pfeiffer. Gangsta's Paradise. Yeah. Yeah, Coolio was on a ship, boy. I love Coolio. 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes. Yeah, Paul, it's not even that deep, bro. Oh, Ghost Main is a trap metal artist. Okay. I'll probably check that out. There was a trap metal guy that hit me up like a couple years ago. He's like, yo, man, I'm trying to get in on here, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. But I never like, the channel blew up at the time. I kind of lost track of the homie. All right, cool. All right, let me see. Let me see if, hey, Tiara, can you sing? Maybe I could put you in one of our videos. That would be legit. That would be really legit. If we could put Tiara in there. Especially with the split tongue thing, Tiara, that would be badass. Would you be in the video though? Would you be a scary person for our little corny Christian music video? That'd be crazy. I've started watching some Jimmy Dore. He looks like my grandpa did when he was younger. Yeah, I fuck with Jimmy. That's my boy. 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes. I think I'm gonna start watching that show, Periphery, I think it's called. Yo, De Herrera, text me. I'll give you the dirty version of that song me and CB did, if you promise not to release it. Oh, Ghost Main is dope. He draws inspiration from black metal. I'm gonna have to check that out. Do you think Alex Jones and what happened to him is the end of free speech in America? Man, fuck Alex Jones, bro. This dude, I really don't understand what people are talking about, how it's the end of free speech in America. This dude had people who lost family members. You had these people having to move because they were getting harassed by Alex Jones's people. Bro, if I lost one of my kids, I'm gonna just be straight with y'all. If I lost one of my kids that way and some crazy person did that shit to me, Alex Jones wouldn't have to worry about free speech ever again, bro. I don't understand all the standing for Alex Jones. I'm not saying you, like, as a person are horrible at all. I'm not saying that at all. I just don't understand what all the standing is for Alex Jones. I don't understand how, like, this dude, maybe he knew the right people to do it to, but I don't understand the Alex Jones stuff. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. I do not believe what happened to Alex Jones is the death of free speech. I don't believe that. I just don't. when are you and Sabby Sam's gonna link up, and what would y'all talk about? I've talked to Sabby. To be honest, I'd like to talk to Sabby about a black agenda and the strategic methodology of using the black vote as strategically. I don't think that I think that Sabby over the last couple of weeks, as well as the entire network, is starting to figure out that the progressives aren't on their team either. That the progressives have been using the black vote the same way that old school Democrats have been using the black vote. There's no black agenda in the progressive space at all. So, I'd like to talk. I think if we ever do actually hook up and have a conversation, like, that would be a tier 1 topic for me to discuss for sure. Alex Jones was a catalyst of people thinking mass shootings were false flags. There was a couple who took inspiration from him, harassed families in person. They harassed a pastor whose daughter was murdered in a mass shooting, telling him his daughter wasn't real. Yeah, there was all types of shit. Those people had to move. They had to relocate. Oh, man, listen, bro. Like I said, dude, like, I know some people, like, if that happened to them, like, Alex... but to be, I'm gonna shoot 100 with you guys. I haven't really been following the Alex Jones case. I've just been going by, what I heard, and just what I've observed from him for years. Like, that dude, man, like, I got no sympathy for that dude whatsoever. And I don't know specifically, like, what Alex Jones is, like, what's happening to him. Like, I know he got, Elon won't reinstate him or whatever and all the rest of it. I don't understand. I don't like what actually happened to him. Like, if it is the worst thing that happened to him was that he got banned from Twitter. Like, yeah, but Teddy, what? They can get Alex Jones, but not Hunter Biden. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean get? How was he gotten? Like, what happened to him? Did he go to prison? Like, dead ass serious. Like, serious question. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, the issue is a lawsuit. Okay, so they sued him, and he had to pay millions. Okay, should he not have had to pay millions for creating, basically slandering these people? I mean, there are libel laws and slander laws. Like, you don't get to go out and lie about people and say, oh, it's your free speech. Like, we can sue you. Like, I'm sure these people's lawyers sent out a cease and desist and said, dude, if you don't shut the fuck up about this lies, like, we're going to sue you. Like, he's lucky he escaped with his life, to be honest with you. Like, that's how I feel about it. $1 billion. Okay, well, that's good. That's better than being dead. It's better than being dead. He owes these people a shit ton of money. Okay. Do I still like Nina Turner? Hell no, I don't like Nina Turner, bro. Nah. And it was Applejack that turned me against Nina Turner, to be honest with you. The argument is, who decides what is legitimate criticism and conspiracies? Well, to me, I don't think that he got in legal trouble for conspiracies. He got in legal trouble for slandering these people as crisis actors. He was saying, you never had a kid, you were part of this conspiracy, you're a crisis actor, etc., etc. That's slander. That's libel. You can sue people for that shit. Trust me. What if Hunter Biden could sue anyone who couldn't prove what he did is what they're saying? I'm sorry, I don't see the correlation. I don't see the correlation at all. Like, Hunter Biden legitimately did all that shit. That shit is in his, it's legitimately his laptop, and he legitimately had a slush fund with the Chinese, etc., etc. Like, I don't see the correlation between that and Alex Jones. Okay, fine. He showed us the Bohemian Groves, Satanists in the Redwoods. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But what I'm saying is, he slandered parents in the worst possible situation ever. And what I'm saying is the fact that he escaped with his life, he should be thankful. I don't understand how anybody's like upholding this dude as some sort of martyr for free speech. He slandered people and he committed an act of libel. And I don't care if you're on the left or the right. When you do that, there should be consequences. I can't go to, trust me, go be a prominent person and make up some lie about Ben Shapiro and see how quickly life changes for you. This is, I'm trying to figure out, like, how is he a martyr for free speech? I'm open to it, but I just want to know, like, what is it? Rachel Maddow got away with it because reasonable people should see her show just entertainment, according to a judge. Well, I don't know about the Rachel Maddow situation. Again, he didn't go to prison. I don't understand this. He didn't go to prison. He just got sued for libel and slander. Are you guys saying that there should be no recourse for libel and slander to sue somebody if they're telling a blatant lie about you and you send a cease and desist letter and they don't stop lying? Are you saying that people should be able to do that with impunity without any sort of consequence? I'm genuinely trying to understand here. I'm actually extending my time. I was going to peace out 2 minutes ago, but I just need to know this. Are we saying that we want to end all libel and slander lawsuits, that people should be able to just lie about anybody knowing that they're lying so that they can accumulate wealth off the lie and pain and suffering of other people, and there should be no recourse for it? Somebody explain that to me. Yeah, you could be a free speech radical. That's fine. But what does that have to do with libel and slander? Are we saying that we can explicitly lie about people? Like, I'm not tracking with y'all. What are y'all actually saying? Okay, I'm going to ask the question one more time. Everybody believes in free speech. I understand. But there's such a thing called libel and slander. Are you guys saying that you want the laws relative to libel and slander rescinded so people can lie and slander specific people and those people have no recourse to defend themselves in the public square? That's what I want to know. Like, is that what you're saying? Because if people are saying that, I completely disagree with that. You can destroy people's careers, you can destroy people's marriages, their lives, without those kinds of protections. So is that what y'all are saying? Y'all are saying that people should be able to lie and slander other people? The outrage is the money. Okay, well, if people are saying that the dollar amount is excessive, okay, that's a separate topic. That's not the same topic, though. Libel and slander should have to have a particular person named. General people can't be libel and slander. I agree, but he specifically named those people. He went up to those people and said, you are a crisis actor. You never had a daughter. Those were specific people. And he put them on camera, all types of shit. What are we talking about here? Okay, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Here, Teddy. Here, Teddy. Maybe you. I'm legitimately confused, and I'm really trying to understand what you guys are saying. So, Teddy, here's a link. You can come on and discuss it with me because I don't understand what y'all are talking about. As my sister said, he literally doxed a dad from Sandy Hook. I mean, he said that these people were part of the. I mean, he went after specific people. He didn't generalize something. He went after specific people who were grieving mothers and fathers. I don't care what happens to a guy that does that. If people are saying that that's excessive, maybe you guys have never had kids, but I've got a bunch of kids. If somebody did that to me, $1 billion is not worth it. All right, somebody jump on and explain the Alex Jones martyrdom thing to me, because I'm not seeing it. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm a free speech guy myself, but I don't understand this. Okay, $1 billion is excessive. Says who? Who says it's excessive? I'm very familiar with MK Ultra. And here's the thing to me. All of you who are talking about this dude like he's a free speech martyr, I got to tell you this though. Free speech, relative to the Constitution and in the mind of the framers, was specifically about being able to criticize the government and the church, right? Because that was the seats in Laban that was the entire thing that they were trying to escape, right? Alex Jones, for almost 4 decades, has been concocting the craziest conspiracy theories about the government, and nothing essentially happened to him. But then he personalized it, and that's when he got. So that tells me that his free speech rights were actually being honored almost to the letter of the law in the Constitution, because it was about being able to criticize the government in the same way that the Second Amendment's primary goal was to protect the citizenry against the state. So all these people crying for Alex Jones has been able to, with impunity, come up with all kind of weird, crazy conspiracy theories about the government, and he hasn't been sued. They pretty much left him alone. They didn't make him a political prisoner. But then he went after specific people and made specific libelous accusations against them, and then ignored specific cease and desist demands from their attorneys. So that tells me that he's not a free speech martyr in any way, shape, or form. Because when he criticized the government, he was left alone. Like, that's got to be dealt with. People could say it's excessive, but to me, I mean, the term excessive is a subjective term. Y'all think it's excessive. I don't. I understand. I don't think he's a free speech martyr, but $1 billion is excessive. I don't think it's excessive. I've never lost a child, but if I lost a child and something like that happened to me, like I said, Mr. Jones wouldn't have to worry about $1 billion. He's out here begging fans for money despite how much money he gets every damn show. He even lied about how much money he gets from his show so they wouldn't think he had money to give. Man, fuck Alex Jones. Do you forgive Vin? I want to believe that I'm a forgiving person, but when it comes to my kids, hell no. When it comes to the people I love, hell no. When it comes to my folks, hell no. Not if they died and you're trying to enrich yourself off the death of my folks, and then you're going to try to slander and libel me to use me as a stepping stone to fucking make more millions of dollars. Hell no, man. Fuck that shit, dude. I know I'm supposed to be forgiven, but I'm not going to come up here and pretend to be a better person than I am. If something happened to Tiara, I've known little sis for like 3 or 4 years. Something happened to her, and then somebody came out and started talking shit, talking about blah, blah, this and that. I don't know, man. Like, if we're in the same room, something might happen to you. So, I mean, it is what it is. Of course Jesus said to forgive, but what does this have to do with Alex Jones? What does this have to do with Alex Jones? I mean, maybe God will forgive him, and maybe the parents will forgive him, but what does that have to do with him? And the other thing too is, I believe in deterrence. So the next Alex Jones is going to think twice before he libels and slanderously accuses somebody and destroys their life. This motherfucker destroyed their lives. I don't understand this. How's $1 billion excessive? I don't get it. I mean, look, everybody that's commenting on this is not in the situation of those parents and those families. So you guys have to understand, we're commenting from a position of privilege. This shit didn't happen to you. And it didn't happen to me. All I'm saying is, I'm sorry, man. It's bad enough that you lose a child. If somebody puts you in a situation where they lie so convincingly and slander you so much that you literally have to move, you got to change locations? Man, come on, bro. Come on. Yo, ain't no thanks, Tiara. You know the deal. You my little sis forever, bro. Like, nah, bro. Like, nah. I don't play about my people, bro. Like that shit is like, I don't understand like what y'all are talking about. And the other thing too, here's another angle that you guys are not seeing, right? Here's another angle that you guys aren't seeing. Let's say that those parents don't have the recourse of court and suing somebody and destroying them financially, right? What do you think will happen? I think that kind of a decision is in the best interest of people like Alex Jones. Because I'll tell you what happens when people feel like they're being attacked and there's no recourse, they take matters into their own hands. So that's the other thing that people aren't thinking about. They're not taking into account human nature. You haven't lost a child and had Alex Jones go up to you and do all that crazy shit. So you're speaking as an outsider. But I'm telling you, like, when you lose somebody like that, you go through a moment of temporary insanity. So if they don't have any recourse to get this dude, they're going to find a way to get this dude, bro. So that's another aspect y'all aren't thinking about. Think about that. If they didn't have that as a recourse, God knows what had happened to Alex Jones. I think it's Alex Jones, and people are saying that it's a death knell to free speech because he got sued for $1 billion. Yeah, grief eventually subsides. Yeah, under natural circumstances, my guy, but it does not subside when you have a media giant like Alex Jones perpetuating this lie and reopening the scab over and over again. And it seems like you guys are saying there should be no legal protections for families that are having that scab open again, so that he can capitalize on the tragedy of your family and your personal tragedy, destroy your guys' name in the community so that he can accumulate more millions of dollars with absolutely no recourse. That is fucking crazy. Somebody get on and explain this shit to me. Are you insane? That dude he should thank his lucky stars that he's alive, bro. I really don't understand what y'all are talking about. I'm lost here. I'm absolutely lost. I don't get it. Somebody needs to jump on here and explain this shit to me. I mean, there's got to be something I'm missing here about this situation. And I've been wrong before. So I don't have a problem with that, but I want you guys to explain to me what you guys are talking about. So somebody jump on here and explain this to me, because I don't get it. Say a victim of MK Ultra announced the names of the doctors involved and then they sued him for libel. I mean, Paul, that's not the same thing. Secondly, if the dude who is suing MK Ultra doctors, does he have any way to prove it? Does he have any way to prove it? Because libel isn't just that you said something one time and a person disagrees or whatever. Libel is, this is a consistent thing that you're doing and you need to retract it. But again, and again, Paul, are you saying that what you're arguing is it's not for or against Alex Jones? What you're arguing is that nobody should be able to sue for libel and slander. Is that the argument? Is that the argument? You're saying that the entire category itself of libel and slander is a legal precedent that needs to be done away with? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I need to know. I need to know. Look, I'm gonna post the link in the channel. If you believe that Alex Jones, or if you disagree, if you think that what happened with Alex Jones was excessive, jump on and then we'll have a conversation. And if people don't jump on in 5 minutes, that's cool. I got to get out of here anyway. But I need somebody to explain this to me. Okay, so Teddy, I agree Alex is a vile human being, but will that judgment be the same across the board, like Don Lemon, Rachel Maddow, Taylor Lorenz, or Hillary Clinton? I'm sorry, but Taylor Lorenz has never done to the degree of what Alex Jones did. And the settlement is obviously always going to be subjective, because the judge has to make a subjective decision as to the severity of the infraction, and therefore the remuneration of what should happen after that. So if you're saying this was excessive, that's fine, because in the judge's opinion it's not, in yours it is, and that's fine. That's how shit goes. But what y'all are, to me, what I'm getting is we should do away with all slander and libel lawsuits, period. And because in the name of free speech, which I think is crazy. I just think that's absolutely crazy. I'm not saying that any of you are defending what Alex Jones did. What I'm asking you is, are you saying that libel and slander as categories, U.S. citizens should not be able to do that to defend themselves when their character is being assassinated in the public square, especially in the current seats in Laban we're in, where we have social media, all the rest of it? Somebody can make a video about you and go absolutely viral. Are you saying that people shouldn't be able to defend themselves in court? What the fuck? But what are you talking about, Paul, once you made that rule? We've had that rule for decades. Slander and libel has been illegal. You've been able to sue for that for forever. So what are you talking about? This is not something new. So what? Bad actors have always been able to exploit every law on the planet. That's not a reason to say that the law... Name me a law that cannot be exploited by bad actors. I just need somebody to help me with this shit. Is Libs of TikTok responsible for the Club Q shooting? No, I don't believe the Libs of TikTok is responsible for the Club Q shooting. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, it'd be one thing if Alex Jones said, I don't believe that the news, that the situation went down the way the news said it. Even if he said, I don't really believe, but he was going after specific people, specific parents. He went and confronted people, apparently, with his shoved cameras in their face. You know that you lied. You don't have a son, blah, blah, blah. Like, what? What are y'all talking about? Okay. Yeah, but Paul, you're not answering the question directly. I'm going to ask the question one more time. Should we have libel and slander protections for U.S. citizens or not? If you say no, then you have an argument about Alex Jones. If you say yes, then there's no argument. If you say yes, then you can say that $1 billion is excessive, and I will say, well, any type of remuneration that a judge decrees is going to be from that judge's subjective understanding of the degree to the damage. So I'm fine if you think $1 billion is excessive, fine. But are you guys saying that as a whole we shouldn't have libel and slander protections? because that's a different story. I mean, man. I mean, okay, so Teddy believes we shouldn't have libel and slander. So I can say that a pediatrician molested my daughter, even though he didn't. Let's say he took good care of my daughter, probably saved her life. I can get on TV and say, this pediatrician's a child molester, blah, 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 blah. And I can get 3 of my other friends and we can go to their place and put a camera and say, why did you molest this guy's daughter? And this guy says, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm a pretty convincing guy, so I can convince everybody that dude, I can destroy his life, ruin his career. This guy went to school for 12 years, probably saved 4 or 5 babies. I can completely destroy that guy. He has no legal recourse because I got free speech. Man, y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. You guys are crazy. Yeah, then the libertarian, yeah, the libertarian perspective is fucking garbage on that point. Then I'm sorry. If anybody wants to come and defend that we shouldn't have libel and free and slander protections for citizens, I'm willing to have that discussion. This shit is crazy to me. Hell no, I don't fuck Alex Jones, and I no. We need to have libel and slander provisions. I'm not gonna say all of you guys. I'm saying what y'all talking about. What Paul is talking about is crazy. It's consistent, but it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So no, I don't think that when the framers were framing the Constitution that they meant to say that we could destroy people's lives and careers. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And you know what? If we ever passed a law where libel and slander was no longer something you could defend yourself against, the people that would be most affected would be people like me. Because you guys already know that there's already a pre-existing bias against my folks in this country. So can you imagine what would happen to folks? Like anytime a black person is doing anything for themselves, like we've got a company right now, and people could completely destroy what me and my wife have worked so hard to build because we're selling baby formula. People can lie about us, and you're saying there's no way for us to defend ourselves, and people can completely destroy our company that we've put blood, sweat, and tears, a whole bunch of risk in our family, all the things that we've done to get to this point. You're saying some crazy white person get on there, make all types of accusations against us, and we've got no way to defend ourselves? Man, you guys are crazy. You guys out your motherfucking minds. That is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane. Oh my God. That's y'all are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. Hell fucking no. We need libel and slander protections. You guys, listen, you guys have never, I'm going to out myself a little bit here. You guys have never went up against a powerful entity that's saying all types of crazy shit about you and making accusations about you. The attorney general in my state tried to put my boy away for years on some bullshit. And we were able to, thankfully we had a pro bono, pro-life outfit that took care of him. But y'all are crazy. This is insane. That is absolutely insane. Look, I believe that free speech is under attack. I said it earlier with the hate crime stuff or whatever, that gets spun into using it to stifle speech. So I am all about speech. I don't agree with stifling speech that you disagree with. If you're a Nazi and you say nigger, 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 you should be able to have a YouTube platform. They shouldn't deplatform you, yada, yada. You should be able to say as much Nazi bullshit as you want. I'm completely liberal relative to that. But when you maliciously work to destroy somebody's life, there ought to be protections against that. That's the difference. That's the difference. I'm not talking about you said something that hurt my feelings. I'm talking about shit that can absolutely destroy you or get you killed. That's what I'm talking about. And you guys are saying there shouldn't be a way to protect people from that. That is fucking insane. And the only reason you're saying that is because it hasn't happened to you the way it happened to those Sandy Hook parents. Or you haven't gone up against a powerful government entity with millions and millions of dollars as a regular person, which I have. So, no. No, not like drill music, Teddy. Drill music and art in general is completely different from what Alex Jones is doing. Stop it. Stop it. Anyway, I put the link out there. It's been more than 5 minutes. So nobody wants to come in and defend that, and that's fine. That's okay. We can agree to disagree. I just hope you guys, Perkinos, I need you to send me that picture, bro. I love all your stuff. Plus, you got to talk to me. I miss you. Alex Jones could go homeless for all I care. It's excessive isn't an argument, and being against libel laws is childlike. He got what was coming to him for what he did to those families. Zero empathy. Correct. What happened to Alex Jones was merciful. I literally pray to God every day, God, please don't put me in these situations with these people, because the scripture says, lead us not into temptation. So I ask the Lord all the time, please don't let me be in some situation where some cop does something reckless with any of my boys. And please don't put me in any situation where something like this shit would happen. Because the Lord knows the weaknesses of his child. But until something like this happens to y'all, to be honest with you, it's just theory. I don't care. I wish it also happened to mainstream media and Biden. Well, to my knowledge, nobody in mainstream media has done what Alex Jones has done. He went to specific parents after specific horrors happened to those specific children. I agree. Rachel Maddow, I do believe, should have been sued for libel successfully by Donald Trump. I do believe that. See, what you guys are saying is, well, what about Rachel Maddow? Okay, sue them. Donald Trump could sue them. He should be able to sue them for libel. And that's fine. And if there's protections for people in the news, okay, change the law. Here's the thing, guys. Here's what you guys are missing. On the one hand, you're saying, I can't stand mainstream media because they're just in the pockets of these corporations and blah, 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 blah. But if we had libel and slander laws applicable to the CNNs, Fox News, MSNBCs of the world, then that would result in more accurate journalism. Right? So we don't need less libel and slander laws. We actually need to expand it so that people in the media like Rachel Maddow don't get to say, well, people should know not to take me seriously. Because I guess that's kind of the Tucker, all the rest of these people, they get to do that. They get to say, well, nobody should take me seriously. So I think actually we should expand those laws, because all the things that you guys complain about on this channel, how the news consistently lies and all this other shit, would be taken care of. We would not have had 4 years of bullshit Russiagate if those motherfuckers were really afraid of slander and libel charges, would we? See what I'm saying? So you got to think about this shit in the long term, y'all. Think about that shit in the long term. Journalism died 20 years ago. That shit has sailed. Yeah, Paul, listen, bro. You're a theoretician. I'm an underground person. I'm a, what would I do if I was in that situation person. I'm a, how is human nature going to react to this person? And if we didn't have libel and slander protections, you get a lot of bodies on the ground. Trust me. You might not come where I come from, But that's how that shit would work out, bro. Especially you're libertarian. You want all these guns all over the country, man. Y'all crazy. You guys are crazy. You got all these weapons in America, and you trying to say we should get rid of libel and slander laws? What the fuck do you think would happen? What do you mean I'm only looking at one side? Nah, bro, you came out and said that you're against libel and slander protections. I respect you for being consistent, but there is a reason that the rest of the people on your side won't come out and say that shit, because it's fucking crazy, and it's gonna lead to bloodshed. Yeah, Rittenhouse should sue. As a matter of fact, you remember that white kid when they were saying that he was going after the Native Americans and all that? He sued them. CNN, he sued CNN for libel, and they had to settle. Should that not have been there? Y'all don't remember that? Remember that? They had the white kid, they plastered this dude's face all over the world. People were talking about, oh, he has such a smackable face. People threatened to kill this kid, and the entire time the whole thing was bullshit. It was wrong. CNN got sued, and they had to settle. A Sandman, correct. They had to settle out of court. They almost got that boy killed. Y'all out here saying that they should be able to do that and there should be no recourse. They shouldn't be afraid to do that. Like the Jesse Smollett thing. People were talking about going out and killing people for that shit, bro. What are you guys on? You guys are fucking crazy. Yeah, they settled. And if that kid didn't sue them, we'd have had 4 or 5 more of those stories. You had half the country wanting to kill this kid. Man, you guys are crazy. You guys are out your fucking minds, man. Yeah, Rittenhouse is using Sandman's attorneys right now. Hell yeah. Yeah, he should sue. He'd probably win. Trump should sue for libel and slander. He should. Yeah, the Covington kid almost got his life taken from him because he was smiling. They slandered this kid as some racist. This kid, you guys don't realize how dangerous this shit is. They slandered that boy. There's 400 million guns in this country. They should just be able to do that, and that kid's got no recourse? Paul, are you insane? Let's just go and slander this kid and say he's all types of shit and fucking inflame a country with 400 million guns and a bunch of mental health issues, and fucking let's make him public enemy number 1. And we've got it on video so it can keep recycling over and over again. What the fuck? And he shouldn't be able to sue and protect himself for that? There shouldn't be any monetary consequence? Please. You guys are insane. You guys are absolutely insane. Yeah, she said words are violence, all types of shit. I wish more and more of those laws. Here's my thing. The Nazis should be able to have a YouTube channel. They should be able to have a Twitter. I don't care. Say nigger, whatever. You ain't doing shit to me, my guy. Say whatever you want. But what I want expansion of speech in that regard. But I also want more and more libel cases out there. I want both of those to happen in parallel lines. Unbelievable. I don't care whatever it is. 1 trillion, 1 quintillion. I don't care. Whatever it is to make the next fucking Alex Jones think twice before you go out and fucking psychologically destroy somebody. And I'll tell you another thing, DJ. If you ask Alex Jones, what's more important to you, $1 billion or your life? He'd probably tell you that his life is more important to him. And I promise you, if we did not have things like libel and slander where you could settle that shit in court, we would settle it on the street. You know that, and I know that. The entire purpose of law is to keep human beings from killing each other. That's the entire purpose of law. So if you don't have a libel and slander protections, then that shit is going to get settled in the street. If you are a doctor or a medical professional and you worked your entire life to be a doctor and you're a good-hearted doctor and you're saving people and you're saving kids, and then somebody gets to go and say that you're a child molester and just fucking destroy your name, your reputation, your marriage, all types of shit, and there's no way for that guy to get recourse, man, he's going to solve that problem. You guys are not thinking rationally. Most of you who are saying this didn't grow up in environments where people took matters into their own hands, so you have a different understanding of how that shit is going to work. But I came up in environments, and I've also seen other countries where people take shit into their own hands. You don't do shit like that to people. That shit is crazy. That shit is absolutely crazy. No, I'm not. Hey, feel how you want to feel. I'm just telling you, I'm a student of human nature, and if you, yeah, that's exactly the point of libertarianism, that violence is wrong. Yeah, Paul, you've got great theories, but then when you try to put that shit on the ground, it doesn't work. You're running interference for the Nazis in Ukraine doesn't work, and the we need to get rid of libel and slander laws is absolutely insane. For anybody, yeah, I don't know the horrors of the gated community, mashallah. yeah, you don't need anything on the ground. Yeah, I know, but I operate on the ground, my guy. I operate on the ground. I know I also know human nature. I know exactly what people could do if they didn't have a legal recourse to right those wrongs. I also know what would happen to my folks if we didn't have legal recourse to right those wrongs. So, yeah, man, you guys are weird. You can't complain about the bullshit in the media, but at the same time say, well, we don't want any legal machinations to hold them accountable. Here's Teddy Patton. Do you live in fear? No, I don't live in fear. Well, I do. I actually do. I do worry about what I would do if something happened to people close to me, because I understand my limitations. So I am afraid of that. But people who, all of us are speaking from a position of privilege. None of us have experienced what those Sandy Hook parents experienced. So you don't understand the mindset of those people. I think Alex Jones is a horrible person, but I don't think that he should die. And if a $1 billion settlement makes it so that those parents don't strap up and blow his head off, then I think that's the best of all possible worlds for that guy. But unless you've been in those parents' situation, you really can't comment on it. So you can bloviate on the internet and say, hey, do you live in fear, blah, blah, blah. But you're not in those people's situations. Why should he not die? Well, I mean, I'm not advocating for the death of anybody, because by principle I'm pro-life. So if you ask me why he should not die, that's how to answer the question. What I believe in principle and what I would do are not always the same thing. He who is without sin cast the first stone. Teddy, now you want to quote the Bible. Teddy, do you know what happens to somebody? Do you know what happens to a false witness in the Bible? Do you know what happens to false witnesses in the Bible? I need somebody to tell me what happens in the Bible. Since Teddy, you want to quote the Bible. What happens to people who give false witness or slander and lie about people? I want to know, since people like to quote the Bible, you know what? It's always going to get ugly when people start quoting the Bible to me to justify what I think of as bullshit. Somebody tell me, let's do a little Bible study real quick. What happens to a person that slanders another person in the scripture? Somebody tell me. Yeah, let me see what Teddy said, because Teddy. Yeah, people always want to quote the Bible to me as if I'm not thinking about biblical principles when this is happening. I always think about biblical principles when I comment on shit. I just don't talk about it right now because we're in a secular context. What is the punishment for a false witness, a slanderer? What happens to a slanderer in the Old Testament economy? Here. Yeah, listen, you guys did this. I didn't do this. You guys did this. Okay? So here we go. Here we go. So here is what the Bible says about liars and slanderers. Here's what happens to liars and slanderers, okay? Because Mr. Patton, you apparently don't know, so let me help you. Here's Deuteronomy chapter 19, okay? If a malicious witness takes the stand to accuse someone of a crime, the two people involved in the dispute must stand in the presence of Yahweh before the priests and the judges who are in office at the time. The judges shall make a thorough investigation, and if the witness proves to be a liar, giving false testimony against a fellow Israelite, then do to the false witness as that witness intended to do to the other party. You must purge the evil from among you. The rest of the people will hear of this and be afraid, and never again will such an evil thing be done among you. Show no pity. Eye for eye, life for life, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Show no pity. So if you go up there and you slander somebody and it gets legal and you lie and you slander somebody, there's no, well, free speech, free speech. Whatever you intended for that other person happens to you. And the Bible explicitly says, show no pity to that motherfucker. Don't bring up the Bible, Mr. Patton. Because if this was biblical, Alex Jones we'd be saying RIP right now. Slander and libel is a capital offense in the scripture. So he's lucky. False witnesses went into one of the lowest circles of hell in Dante's Inferno. Correct. Don't come at me with the Bible to justify this bullshit, bro. What you on? You guys are crazy. This is just people who have not been in the situation, in the unique situation that these people have been in. You guys obviously have not built things from scratch that could be completely destroyed tomorrow by slanderous accusations. And ultimately, as I said, these laws are in place to prevent bloodletting. That's why these laws are in place. They're not in place because it hurts people's feelings. They're in place so it stops people from killing people. That's why they're in place. So if we said, oh yeah, you can slander whoever you want, then CNN can get a bunch of people killed with no recourse. And you would open up. You think random shootings and shit are bad now? Whew. You guys don't know what you're asking about. Teddy says God will destroy those who slander others. those who prevent the punishment of criminals, and those who tell lies to keep honest people from getting justice. Yeah, Teddy, I agree. And the way that God punishes criminals is through the judicial system. God uses means. Very rarely does God throw a lightning bolt to judge people. The normal means by which God judges people, Teddy, is by using other people to judge them. That's why there's all these laws. Love all you beautiful people. You guys are just weird, man. You're just weird. And you're crazy, and you're inviting more bloodshed in our country, and I'm glad that you have zero influence in our jurisprudence, because holy shit, there'd be a lot more dead people in this country if you did that. But the judicial system clearly isn't the Old Testament court, obviously, because we're in a period of grace. So instead of Alex Jones getting executed, he just gets a couple dollars out of his coffers. So he's received grace. He should be dead, but he received grace because we're in the New Testament era. That's how I'd respond to that question. You guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. Much love to all you guys, though. Much love to all you people. But yeah, dueling had to be outlawed. Correct. Dueling had to be outlawed. And the vast majority of the dueling was because somebody said some crazy shit. These boys be out here killing. Everybody would be dead, bro. Everybody would be dead if we didn't have libel and slander laws. What are you guys talking about? I hope, Brent, I don't know, bro. I don't know. But I hope Alex Jones lives in a fucking hut in Siberia for the rest of his life, man. I don't care about him. Doesn't the new covenant replace the old? Yes, it replaces the old covenant, and that's the reason I just explained to you. That's the reason why Alex Jones isn't dead. It's because he got grace. $1 billion charge is grace. Is God's grace to him. He's still alive. He's still alive, so he got grace. Correct. It's more sensible to focus less on punishment of Alex, more on restoring the damage done to the poor families. Yeah, this celebrity culture is ridiculous. You got all these people whining for fucking Alex Jones. There's families that are fucking destroyed off of this shit. What the fuck? Care about him? Paul, when you're talking about the law, we have a New Testament rubric for interpreting the law. Paul says that the law is for the lawless. So what you're supposed to do is take the principle and the intention behind the law and funnel it through the principle of love and grace. So when God says you shall do no murder, that means in the current context, shit, I can't support abortion. It also means that if somebody commits an abortion, I'm not going to advocate for the death penalty because I want to give that guy time to repent. So when you have a law that says a false witness is going to get whatever's coming to them in the Old Testament, what's the principle? The principle is people need to be able to be protected at the legal level from slander. Because you have to account, Paul, for people's sinful natures. And when people get slandered and their lives get ruined and they don't feel that they have legal recourse, they will kill people. So the loving thing to do is to take the principle, okay, God doesn't like slander and libel, and apply it in a New Testament context in such a way that we take the principle of the law, which is to protect people from having their lives destroyed, while at the same time funneling it through the prism of love and grace. We're not going to kill Alex Jones, but we're going to give him a punishment that functions as a deterrent. Please note that the intention of the law, when it says show no pity, is so that the other people can fear doing it, because love is supposed to be our number one motivation. But because we are unloving, selfish motherfuckers, we have to go to people's sense of self-preservation. And so God says, make the punishment severe so that other people can be afraid of doing the same thing, so as to protect the most people possible, including the perpetrators, from being killed. Paul, I appreciate the question. That is the biblical New Covenant answer. When Jesus showed up, he didn't say it's a free-for-all. He actually said, we have to live at a higher level than the Old Testament does. The New Testament sexual ethic is much more stringent than the Old Testament sexual ethic was. So this argument is impossible to make biblically. Absolutely impossible. Yes, Doug, the mainstream media gets away with it every day. Correct. So instead of democratizing corruption, what we should do is hold them to the same standard. We need more libel lawsuits, not less. That's what I'm getting from that. Well, first of all, Paul, there are many issues in the Bible that there is no disagreement on. For example, the fact that there is a God. Every Christian believes that there is a God. The fact that Jesus is a Messiah. Every Christian believes that Jesus is a Messiah. The fact that he was crucified. So this idea that every single verse has a controversy is ridiculous. That's not true. That's number one. Number two, Teddy brought up the passage. He obviously didn't know what the passage said, because I asked him numerous times before I posted the verse, and he didn't need to post the specific address to the verse. All he had to do was tell me generally what it meant. He had no fucking clue, and neither did you, and that's okay. But now that you have the information and you've already asked a question, where is the controversy? There's no controversy about this. What biblical scholars are saying we should suspend libel and slander laws? Come on, bro. Be honest. Be honest. Yeah. My view is that the vast majority of the laws and principles of the Bible are self-evident. That's my view, right? And there are things like eschatological situations in the book of Revelations where you're talking about 10-headed dragons and things like that, where we've had strident debate for thousands of years in Christendom. But there are other things in Christendom that there have been no debate about, that all of us have been unified, whether Catholic, Protestant, Eastern Orthodox, whatever. Okay? And what I'm saying is this particular subject is not one of them. This is not a controversial issue at all. That's what I'm saying. I have a question for you. What is the definition of marriage? Well, if you're talking about the biblical definition of marriage, it is a union of one man and one woman for a lifetime until one of them die. And the complementarity and the differences in the sexes is meant to image Christ and the church. Christ representing the husband and the church representing the wife, which means, Doug, that you are part of the bride of Christ. I don't know how that strikes your masculine sensibilities, but the church is essentially female. So that's the biblical definition of marriage. That's fine. Fact check it. Fact check it. Paul, here's something you have to understand. There is only one right answer to the question, what does 2 + 2 equal? Right? Christians are not postmodernists. If let me explain something to you. If I'm in a room of 1 million people and those 1 million people say 2 + 2 is 5, 2 + 2 is 6, all the way up to 11, and I'm all the way up to 1 million, and I'm the only one that says 2 + 2 is 4, I'm right. Everybody else in the room is wrong. So there's that too. So man and a woman meant forever enables the creation of family via kids. Yeah, 100%. That's a biblical that's the biblical definition of marriage. That's God's definition of marriage. I've never said anything different. Anybody that knows me knows that. But yeah, the first commandment in the Bible is to be fruitful and multiply. That's the first thing we were commanded to do. And so there is a functional, marriage actually in the scripture is actually presented more as a functional institution than an emotional one. In chapter 1, we're told that men and women are both image bearers of God, created with glory and honor, and they were supposed to rule the world, and the first thing they're commanded to do is have a lot of sex and have a lot of children. In the second chapter of Genesis, you see the emotional component where Adam can't find somebody that's his counterpart, and then when Eve is brought to him in the first wedding, that's where you see the emotional, where he says, "At last, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, she shall be called woman because she was taken out of a man." So the emotional aspect is there, but the primary understanding of marriage initially was a functional one. We're going to have a man and a woman to rule the world. That's their function. Let them have dominion. And then when they talk to each other, when God finally talks to them, the first thing we hear God tell the married people to do is have lots of sex and have lots of babies. So, I don't know if Adam kind of boned his bone. Holy shit! Ian, you're going to hell! Or God is laughing. I really can't tell you which is which. I don't know, but I had to put that up there. I'm not responsible for that one. But it was pretty much, he was right. Well, Paul, listen, bro. You've got the text right here for yourself. You can read that text, Paul, and you can tell me, how do you interpret it? This is not mysterious. This is not mysterious, bro. It's right there. There's no mystery to what God's intention is here. Explicitly tells you, false witnesses, you give them the most severe punishment you possibly can. And then it says, purge the evil from among you. The rest of the people will hear of this and be afraid, and never again will such an evil thing be done. The severity of a false witness who publicly makes a false statement to destroy somebody, the severity of the punishment there is intended to make it so that it doesn't spread as contagion. So what's the implication? The implication is obvious. If you don't go after somebody who slanders people in public, then you're going to spread this and it's going to become pandemic. It's right there. It doesn't matter how libertarian you are. It doesn't matter what situation you come from. You don't need to be a Christian. You just need basic reading comprehension. You're smarter than me, so I'm sure you have it. It's right there, bro. There's no other way of interpreting that, bro. This is not like the book of Revelation where it talks about, 7 sevens and 14 sevens and 3.5, all this other shit that you have to really zero in to understand. This shit is right there for everybody to see. This is not confusing. This is not confusing at all. It's pretty there for everybody. Again, even if you don't agree with the Judeo-Christian God, you can not agree with it. You don't need supernatural power to know what this passage is saying. It's pretty basic. It's pretty basic. Yeah, Paul, I don't think the differentiation between the Old and New Testament is really that difficult if you took 10 minutes to hear the explanation. Like I don't think it's that complex at all. It's pretty simple. Remember, the first Christians were not Bible scholars, they were fishermen and slaves and ex-Roman military who were not very educated. So this is not like, oh my God, like high level, highbrow shit. This is on, Koine Greek, it was a street Greek. It wasn't the sophisticated Platonic, it was street level shit. This was for street level people, bro. It wasn't for smart people like you. It was for slow people like me. So if a slow person like me can get it, anybody can get it. See what I'm saying? Yeah, you'd be wrong. You'd be wrong, Paul, because that tells me that you're not very familiar with the literature in the early church or the New Testament, because they absolutely did. No, Origen and the rest of those guys were talking about homoousios and all the rest of that shit. Okay, that's later, but like the first century guys are just very, very simple, and again, they were arguing about really complex ideas like hypostasis, Trinitarianism, the two natures of Christ, Arianism. I mean, that shit was like highbrow, high level shit. Those are the things that people were arguing about. They weren't arguing about shit like this. They weren't arguing about sexual ethics. Have you read the Didache? Like there was no argument. Nobody was talking about gay marriage, all types of shit in the first century. It was pretty clear. Everybody had a pretty much, especially when it came to ethics, everybody had a clear understanding. Even nonviolence. Did you know, Paul, that even nonviolence is pretty sure it was Origen who said that when Jesus told Peter, "He who lives by the sword will die by the sword," in saying this, he unbelted every soldier. Do you know the early church was pretty much unified on pacifism? Relative to ethics, there was no real debate. The debates began in the 4th century when the pagans stopped killing us and we had time to find ways to fight with each other. We started arguing about Arianism versus Trinitarianism, all types of shit. And I'm not saying that they were not important discussions to have, obviously. If you're a Bible nerd, you love that shit. But laws like that were not in question. You're going to have to show me some literature where the early church was like, I wonder what this means about slander. I wonder if we could slander each other. I mean, the New Testament is clear. It puts slander up as the list of sins that will get you sent to hell. This is not, I'm sorry, bro. This is not one of them. This is not home turf for you. You got to find something else to argue about. Good. There's Perkinoff. There's Perkinoff. That's Tertullian, not Origen. Thank you. See, Perkinoff is, that's why I was able to do this. My homie. That's my homie. Leviticus 19:16. Here we go again. Here's another one. And look, bro, Paul, look at how the Bible stacks this shit one on top of the other. It says, "Do not go about spreading slander among your people." Now look at the very next line. "Do not do anything that endangers your neighbor's life. I am Yahweh." This is clear. There's no debate about this, bro. There's no debate. I'm sorry. There's none. Okay. Where are you getting that? Where are you getting that the relationship between the moral law between the Old and New Testament? Like, were there debates? There was debates about circumcision, but that circumcision came before the law. I'm not even sure, like, I don't want to condescend to you, but do you understand the difference between the moral law and the ceremonial law? Because the first Christians did understand the difference. So like, I'm not trying to be funny here, but these things, I'm not saying, okay, so relative to the moral law, the Christian church didn't have much of a debate. Like, nobody's walking around saying, I don't know, like, should we be able to kill people? Like, shouldn't we be able to slander and lie about people? Shouldn't we be able to give false witness to people? What are you talking about? There's no, like, you gotta have to show me where there were debates about moral and ethical principles. Not as clear cut. I mean, the apostles argued with Saul about which parts of the Old Testament matters. Is that not true? No, it's not true, because Paul says we established the law. Paul never said that there's any part of the Old Testament that didn't matter. No, that's not true. Like for example, Jesus never put an injunction against having sex with your mother. But in 1 Corinthians, when the dude was having sex with his stepmother in the church, Paul says, the shit you guys are doing, not even the pagans are doing. What the fuck is wrong with you? He didn't say, okay, I'm going to explain to you why incest is wrong. He assumed the Corinthians knew that. Secondly, Paul, Romans 2, Paul explicitly states that even outside of the Old Testament, that human beings have God's natural law written on their hearts and their consciences are always accusing or excusing them. That's why I know when people say there's nothing wrong with abortion, I know that they're full of shit, because they have God's law in their hearts already, and they know internally that killing children is a horrible thing to do. So biblically speaking, you don't even need the Bible to understand the moral law. I'm sorry, man. It's just there's nothing there for you, bro. There's nothing there. I'm sorry. It's just not there. Relative to slander, there's never been a time in the Christian church where there's ever been a debate. I'm sorry. It's just not there for you. So, having said that, fellas, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Much love to all you guys. Paul, I would say you should keep reading your Bible, man. You should keep reading your Bible, because you're much smarter. You're much smarter than me on this shit. It's just the only difference is I have a little bit more knowledge on the scripture. Paul explicitly affirmed natural law in Romans 2. Through reason, we can come to understand God's moral order. Correct. I don't believe anybody needs to be taught that slander is wrong. Nobody needs to be taught that. Everybody knows already that slander is wrong. Everybody knows that lying to purposely destroy another person to enrich yourself is wrong. Everybody knows that. That's not a debate. Everybody knows that. There are picayune things that people, disagree on and go back and forth on, but that's not one of them. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. That was... Yeah, and biblically speaking, Alex Jones probably deserves to die. No, we disagree, because you said that libel and slander protection should be suspended and that shouldn't be a category of law. That's what you said. That's where we disagreed. And what I'm saying is, you might be saying, oh, I'm so cool and libertarian. And what I'm saying is that would result in a bunch of people dying. There'd be a bunch of bloodletting. People in this country are already blowing each other away for no fucking reason. So you put that into a society mixed with guns and mental health issues, you're gonna get a whole bunch of blood on the ground. And if you can't see that, I can't help you. if you don't understand clearly what would happen if we didn't have those protection, motherfuckers would die in bunches. All right, guys. Yeah, that's fine. And look, Paul, if we lived in your nice little theoretical world where shit didn't happen, fine. But like I said, I'm on the ground. You're not on the ground. I'm on the ground. I'm thinking about what people are actually going to do. I'm thinking about human nature. People would die in bunches. And you're a libertarian, so you're cool with people having AR-15s, fucking... shit, you're cool with people having machine guns if you're a libertarian. Hell, if I can afford an RPG and an F-15, if we're really applying your libertarianism, I should be able to have a fucking RPG. So that I'm at the point now where I can afford an RPG. So if you say some shit about me, I'll load up and get a sniper rifle, put a round right underneath your ear. You won't hear a thing. You won't feel a thing. That'll be the end of you, and I should be able to go on with my life. You are crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Like, you wouldn't want to live in that America, though, bro. Y'all crazy. I love you guys, but I got to get out of here. Love your neighbor. Take care of each other. Middle America, we are the media. Till next time, guys. And if Paul Tard Spambot ever decides to run for office, fucking vote against him for his own sake, because he'd be the first one to get himself shot. Holy shit. Much love to everybody. I'm out of here. Vin out. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Stay safe. When you're going to Walmart or the gas station, whatever it is, fucking look around, be aware, practice situational awareness, and all that jazz, and take care of each other, huh?